45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Congratulations, Lakers. You've got your guy. Okay. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's official, Pearl. JJ Redick takes over as the LA Lakers head coach. Can this work?
Congratulations, Lakers. Condolences, JJ Redick, because you are taking over an impossible task. You have the expectations of the world on your shoulders because of the franchise, the Lakers, and you have no time to learn how to coach, and you have a roster that is flawed. I mean, let's face it, LeBron's 40. We don't even know if he's coming back. Now he's talking about opting out. They have Anthony Davis is their anchor, and he was healthy last year, and they didn't do anything. So what is he going to do when he's not healthy? And then you have a bunch of other players who are odd parts. Everyone says JJ Redick is brilliant. Maggie, he better be brilliant.
Well, okay, but let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Because the brilliance can manifest itself in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And I'm going to agree with you. It kind of feels like, it's not that I can't see any of the benefits here of JJ Redick. I think that it could possibly work because we talked a lot about chaos theory yesterday. Like, sure, it could work, but let's talk about the process, right? How did you arrive at JJ Redick? And is he the right coach for this particular moment of where the Lakers are? Like, I keep coming back to this about Redick and LeBron. LeBron doesn't even like to play with rookies. Why would he want a rookie coaching him? For this moment where he is trying to rip off a last title before he retires, why do you entrust somebody who's never been in those shoes, right? Who's never been in the big moment? Be like, well, JJ Redick, he's so smart. Okay, great. Let's talk about how smart JJ Redick is. He is. And when he does his podcast and when he's on a broadcast and all that stuff, he is talking to a crowd that is not generally at the PhD level that he's at, right? When he talks basketball with LeBron on that podcast that Pete loves, they are really, it's insidery. Well, you know what? When you get to the NBA, that's not insidery anymore. That's just normal. That's like how people talk.
Right.
They all know this stuff, right? Yeah, you're trying to teach some of the younger guys, but every coach is smart. Every coach can be brilliant. Every coach knows the X's and O's of basketball, or else they would never be at that high level. My thing about JJ's brilliance is it comes across, and in a lot of ways, I think he's responsible for this. It comes across at times like arrogance. And it comes across at times like smartest guy in the room.
Right.
And those types of people, we all have them in our life. The one-uppers, the I know betters, those guys, I'm the smartest person around people, whether it's a coworker, in-laws, spouses, husband, whatever it is. It's hard for those people to be humbled. And this is going to be a humbling experience because how could it not be? He doesn't have all the answers for as brilliant as he may be as a basketball person because he's never done it.
Well, I mean, he's got LeBron, so I think he's not going to act like this. I mean, he's going to defer to LeBron immediately. So at least he's put in his place a little bit because of that. The other thing, as far as the process goes, I think taking a risk is the right move for the Lakers because if you look at their team, I like going Danny Hurley or JJ Redick, something completely off the board because you're not going anywhere, James Borrego, a longtime assistant. Like, you need to take a risk to get this team to a title. So I don't mind the process. I'm not saying it's going to work. I still don't think it's going to work, but I like taking a wild swing here. I mean, you will admit he is a risk with a high reward, but more likely it's just going to fizzle out. And by the way, it's so funny. They only offered him 4 years. Like the Lakers remain cheap, but that's besides the point.
Well, that's what they offer everybody, it seems like.
Well,
that's what they gave Darvin Ham, right?
Well, they offered Hurley 6 years,
Oh, right.
$70 million.
Hurley got the
yeah. So, but they keep on getting cheaper. So, 4 years, $32 million.
Everyone's hedging.
Well, they're hedging, but I think that this is a risk that it's worth taking a risk. Like I like going instead of the longtime assistant. Like that's not going anywhere. Try something wildly different because I don't think roster wise you're going to win a title. I think you need to try something a little radical.
Okay.
Here. So I like that part of the process.
Okay, but I ask you again, is this the right time in LeBron's career and the right team to have this big boom or bust kind of thing?
Yes, because what's your other option? To have James Borrego and lose in the play-in?
Well, but here's the thing. Just because he's an assistant who's never done it before doesn't mean he's going to be a failure. And by the way, let's define the terms of success and failure here. Frank Vogel won a championship. He was gone.
Yeah.
Darvin Ham got to the Western Conference Finals with a team out of nowhere, it felt like, after some nice trades at the deadline, and then followed up with an in-season tournament win. I know you guys think that that's fugazi, but it did raise the expectations for the Lakers, and then he was out. So, what is succeeding here for JJ?
And
just making LeBron happy, or is it winning?
No, the team is worse, by the way. Like, this team is way worse than that 2020 team because LeBron is 40 now. He was still closer to his prime at that point. No, it doesn't. Like, Darvin Ham, that's nothing to them. Like, getting the Western Conference Finals and being swept, you could do that with a retread like James Borrego. But to really do what they want to do, which is win a title, and I think if you ask LeBron in an honest moment, do you want to take a risk here or do you want to just be good, like Western Conference Finals? He'd say, let's take a risk. Let's go for it.
Okay, but again, I would ask, is that what this needs right now? This big wild boom or bust? Because you don't know. James Borrego could be the next Nick Nurse. It could be that guy.
He's already coached.
Oh, right,
yeah,
he did already coach.
Yeah.
But, he could be the guy who, in his second time around, becomes, he could be Belichick. Who knows? He failed in one place and then could be good in the next place.
But he's more likely to be Darvin Ham and even poor Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel did win a title, but I don't know how much he had to do with that. Anyway, I think the Hurley, Redick, bizarre coaching hire route was the way to go here with the Lakers. But that being said,
do you think it'll work?
No, I don't think it'll work because it's the roster.
It, but it won't work.
No, I like the process of going for it. They need to take a risk. No, they need to take a risk because they do not have a roster that can win. If they had James Borrego, what's the point? You might as well just hire any generic former head coach. I would say that'd be sort of a dull thud. I like the process of taking a risk, but I just think the roster's wrong. I think LeBron is going to start to really descend, and I think Anthony Davis is not even going to have as good a year as last year. So I think we're looking at a play-in team. There's
still some time for the Lakers to reshape their roster.
That's what Magic Johnson said on Twitter last night. What do you got? Spell something out for me.
I don't know.
That's what you need.
But I also am wondering, is the big swing coming? And how does that impact JJ Redick's new job, right? Because the Lakers can do this maybe two types of ways. Maybe they can do this around the margins, or maybe they can really try to do this boom-bust thing like we did it with the coaching staff. Is there a possibility with the draft picks they have and some of the assets that they have that they try to do something bigger, like a Trae Young or something like that? Well, I'm just saying, Pearl, you'd like him better than D'Angelo Russell, would you not?
Barely.
Okay. Well, Trae Young
Trae Young, give me Donovan Mitchell. That's a big swing. Trae Young, I think, has marginal value in the NBA right now. People are not. I can't believe teams are lining up for Trae Young. If you could get a superstar like Donovan Mitchell, yes. But they need a big swing, a massive swing, bigger than Trae Young.
Yeah.
Like Shohei Ohtani's size swing, man.
Wow, that's a big swing. I'm not down on Trae Young. I just think that you and I have both seen this because this has both happened to teams and cities that we live in and teams that we root for. When Trae Young is on it, he can beat anybody. And he's instant offense for you. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of him handling the ball, stuff like that. You know what? That's better for LeBron at this point in his age and how he wants to play and how he wants to save himself for the playoffs. I don't hate this, Yeah, the defensive side is going to be a problem, definitely. But that's another place where you're going to have to make up a little bit of ground. We already knew that the Lakers were going to need a wing defender, so that doesn't change anything.
Well, it's another player who has to be hidden on defense. You're going to hide LeBron. You're going to hide Trae Young. You're going to hide LeBron so he can rest throughout the game.
Yeah.
I don't like it. just my opinion. Like that's exactly the player they have. D'Angelo Russell. Like why do you need to get a little bit smaller? And Trae Young is not super consistent. If he's going to be one of the reasons he's very effective offensively is because he's the offense at certain times in Atlanta. He's going to have to be a role player. The Lakers don't like it. Give me Donovan Mitchell. Maybe we're talking even that's not enough. It's a very tough project. That's why they had to go wild swing here. And the other thing too. LeBron's going to be gone. Maybe Redick learns on the fly. The most likely scenario is that this doesn't go anywhere. Maybe Redick remains and learns to be a good coach, and they build it the old-fashioned way over 5 years and rebuild. How about that as an option?
Well, I'd love to hear from Laker fans about that. 855-212-4227, or Lakers haters, because you're welcome to weigh in as well. There's part of this that I don't think is going to work. I feel like I have to talk myself into this with JJ, and I feel like to find the reasons that it's going to work, I've got to talk myself into those reasons. And first and foremost is actually nothing that has to do with him. I don't trust the Lakers. I don't trust this brain trust. 7 coaches since Phil Jackson. I don't think they know what they want. They're all over the road. And so, yeah, this is the flavor of the week today. We're going to do this today. And they're trying to read LeBron's mind, or they're trying to fend off Clutch, or there's so many competing things going on. I simply don't trust the organization. So, fair or unfair, that's my biggest thing I can't get over. I don't know if I trust who's in charge, because I'm not exactly sure who that is with the Lakers.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but can I actually counter that? Like, is there anybody in charge or any organization that can stop time? I mean, LeBron is getting old. This normally, if you're not the Lakers, you would just rebuild, right? Like, it's time to rebuild in LA, but they're trying to eke something out. And I think that's why they're doing this unusual hire. And I think that's why there's some confusion here, because the reality is the smart move would be just like, stop. Let's reset. Let's clear out the salary cap and let's start over. But they're trying to.
They're not there.
It's late Kobe. I'm telling you, this is all late Kobe. They're just trying to stay relevant. I agree. The front off, this organizational chaos is not good for any team. But I think they're in a tough spot because they really should be a rebuilding team, and they're going to try and put this all together. And I think we're both on the same page. I'm not super optimistic. Like, I'm not going to DraftKings and putting the futures bet on right now.
No, I think it's going to be a lot of ups and downs. We know how this has tended to go. LeBron has cycled through a lot of coaches, not afraid to get passive aggressive, and he'll tell everybody, or his people will tell everybody, he has nothing to do with the hire. All right, sure. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, a lot of people are saying that.
This is the wrong tact to take for him.
Why?
Because if people already think that JJ is just going to be a mouthpiece for LeBron, first of all, wake up. Every coach outside of maybe Eric Spoelstra has basically been a mouthpiece for LeBron. So every coach, you have to be collaborative with LeBron. You have to be collaborative with every star. Joe Mazzulla has to be collaborative with Tatum and Brown. That's just how it goes right now in the NBA. It's the biggest part of an NBA coach's job, quite frankly, beyond even the X's and O's. So why are you trying to fly in the face of what everyone knows is true? Why not put your stamp of approval on this guy? Yes, I wanted JJ. I did want JJ. And I think the reason why is because he'll help this team win. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it because I think he's the best candidate out there. Whatever you're going to say, own it. Own it. And that's something LeBron will never do when it comes to coaches.
What's the strategic advantage of doing that? Like, why?
Because JJ's already going to be facing a bit of an uphill battle. We mentioned it's a boom or bust situation. There's going to be so much noise and circus around this whole thing because it's the Lakers and LeBron. You should come out and solidly, staunchly back this dude. It's like vote of confidence. We see this in sports all the time. This is what LeBron needs to do for Redick. Like, this is my guy.
I would totally take the opposite tact. I would say I'm glad they hired him, but this was not me. So, I mean, one of the big things is they have to let JJ establish his own authority. So,
yeah, how do you get credibility if LeBron's like, well, they hired him, and like, we'll see if he impresses me. That just creates more tension.
Well, I mean, the hiring is all that they sent the message by hiring him. So. No, I mean, the real problem is like the coach, he's got to be in charge. So LeBron coming openly endorsing him, obviously, I think undermines JJ. And that's a big problem here. Like,
I think it helps JJ.
I mean, I think the 11 players around JJ need to know he's in charge, not LeBron.
Well, what if LeBron says, I like this guy and I'm willing to follow him? I'm going to follow him. Like,
he's good. Well, LeBron is a team player. He's just do it by your actions, not by saying it in a press conference. I think anything that would hurt them. And honestly, I think everybody sort of thinks that LeBron endorses him anyway. So I don't think that's going to be a problem.
See, I would explicitly state it because people are just then you're just leaving people to fill in the blanks. And honestly, it's not good when people leave the blanks to be filled in by LeBron as people because, again, it gets passive aggressive. That, who knows when there's an hourglass tweet or something stupid or, you're either fit in or fit out. Like we've gone through 21 years with this dude. We get what he's like. This is just who he is. And I would change that tact now. Take a little accountability. I like this guy. I think he's smart. I'm willing to follow him. He can coach me hard and he can coach the rest of the team hard. And I would get it out there.
I think that would be a big mistake. And I don't think he's going to do that for that very reason. Like he's got to let JJ establish authority as the head coach. The other thing too, I mean, all this, the passive aggressive tweets, like just give me a healthy lower body for 70 games, Mag. I don't care what you tweet. That's the real issue here. I mean, not all this stuff is really, it's nice and it's like interesting to talk about. But the reality is, dude's turning 40 on December 30th and plays a very physical style of basketball. None of this has to do with LeBron's mind. This is about his right and left leg. I think this is a really, really tough spot. And again, like LeBron come out there and like if he said those things, man, can you imagine the dynamic moving forward? Like if they go on a 3-game losing streak, LeBron, your guy, is not doing well, and then it all comes down on him, and then they're still going to fire him anyway. What's the difference?
It's going to come down to LeBron anyway. I think he says, yeah, and it's my guy, and it's still my guy. You show a little confidence here, especially also if the guy's going to be coaching your son. It's the other part of this. Bronny.
He's got, first of all, does anybody not think this is a LeBron hire? As you said, like JJ Redick established himself for this job by doing this podcast. That's obviously what happened, right?
Man,
so he's already tied to LeBron. He doesn't. I mean, LeBron joining him on as a co-host on a podcast. What more endorsement do you possibly need? When he did that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe LeBron respects JJ Redick enough to do this. I think we are like that. That's all he needed. Like he doesn't need more endorsement from him. He's fine.
What a win for podcasters everywhere. People in our business, stand up.
Pat Bev said JJ Redick opened the door.
Well, maybe not for Beverly. Everyone who could start a podcast and become head coach of the Lakers, step forward. Not so fast, Pat. You're welcome to weigh in, 855-212-4227. We wish you would weigh in. You heard what Perloff and I think about it. We don't think this is going to work. However, I do have, Pearl, the one person who could be the linchpin in this whole thing. It's not LeBron. It's not Bronny. It's not Clutch Sports. It's not Jeannie Buss. It's not Rob Pelinka. I've got the one person who could actually make this whole thing work. The key to this whole Lakers, JJ, LeBron situation being smooth sailing, I've got the guy.
All right.
I'll tell you who it is next. 855-212-4227. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, with Wendy's $3 English muffin deal, you don't just get breakfast, you get a proper meal. Get your choice of a sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese English muffin sandwich with small seasoned potatoes. Grab yours today. Terms apply. This weekend, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Ryan Blaney goes for 2 wins in a row after an upset win over the field at Iowa last weekend. I went to college right near that Motor Speedway. That should be a fun time. And at least it's cooler up there. It's super hot here. All right, Maggie,
Did you ever go to the...
No, I did not.
Okay.
Maggie, you have the solution to smooth over all these rough edges in LA with the Lakers. Let me hear it.
Okay, I have the person who could help, who could be the linchpin, who could be the center here of JJ Redick, LeBron James, the Lakers. You know, the inevitable awkwardness that may happen or the inevitable bumps in the road that could happen. Listen, it happened with LeBron and Eric Spoelstra. They had to go through their stuff. And you had Pat Riley, who was there, right? Who LeBron trusted, respected, and kind of Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra was sort of the Pat Riley light, right? For the Lakers and for this, Coach K is that person. Coach K is a consultant right now for the Lakers. Coach K has coached LeBron James, USA Basketball, winning gold medals. Coach K is the guy who has the respect of every NBA player, and his reputation never even took a half of a hit because he never went to the NBA. So we have no idea how Coach K would have been in the NBA. He has so much credibility, and I would say of any coach outside of like Nick Saban or Belichick, I mean, Coach K is so high in everyone's mind and has such a good reputation. Who is Coach K putting over, to borrow a wrestling term from Pete and EJ? He can put over JJ Redick. He can endorse JJ Redick, someone who played for him at Duke, someone who he's always liked, somebody who he, developed, right? And when LeBron starts the inevitable passive-aggressive stuff, because that will happen, because I don't think LeBron can help himself when it comes to passive-aggressive being coaches or teammates and using the media to get what he wants, Coach K could be there to tell LeBron, hey, just trust Redick. And Coach K could be a sounding board for Redick. Like, he's got to have people he trusts, and Coach K could be that person also. Coach K is the linchpin of this whole thing.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Did you say LeBron hired JJ Redick, or you're saying LeBron really? So which one is it? Didn't LeBron choose Redick? Why does he need smoothing over?
There's going to be inevitable friction.
Even though LeBron wanted this guy.
I think so. Because LeBron will always, I think, keep a bit of an arm's distance from a coach because he always needs somebody to blame things on. Okay. Right? He always needs a little bit of a scapegoat. You always need a little bit someone, a fall guy, if you will. LeBron doesn't want to be that guy, and he probably doesn't think he should be that guy. So Coach K could be there as a sort of back channel. Hey, this is what's going on. I can communicate to both of these players. I've got the ear of both of these guys, and I have the respect of LeBron. Like the Pat Riley figure in Miami. Now, Pat Riley was like literally the general manager of the team, is a lot different. But Coach K can be that guy.
When is this LeBron backlash against JJ happening?
Who knows? It could be a 5-game losing streak. It could be he doesn't like the rotation. It could be he doesn't like substitutions. It could be JJ blows it at the end of a game with his timeouts or something like that. Anything that you would pin on a coach, like what got pinned on Darvin Ham, quite frankly. All these same things. The rotations people didn't like, said that he wasn't prepared, all the stuff that came out after the fact. Coach K has to be working this thing behind the scenes to keep the relationship on track.
Okay. That's I like it, I guess. I just don't see. Do we need all this? Like, do we need Coach?
The Lakers are a mess, Pearl. The Lakers are not serious.
LeBron's gone in a year, probably. So you're saying it's all like it's going to get so bad that Coach K needs to come to LA and talk to everybody to calm them down this year?
No.
I feel like that's all.
No.
I feel like at a normal team that's going to build, like maybe Coach K comes in here, but I think this is going to be it's going to be fine. This is all going to come and go in a blink of an eye.
No, but a lot could happen. It's going to be a lifetime in the blink of that eye. Not that Coach K, I'm not saying Coach K is going to be there because this thing's going to get so bad. I think he prevents it from getting bad. I think that Coach K has the ability to communicate with both LeBron and JJ Redick and sort of triangulate between the two if things do come up and nip it in the bud before it does become an issue.
Well, it's funny. I just assume that JJ Redick and LeBron are going to be fine because they seem like buddies. I don't know.
Who's LeBron fine with as a coach? Like, who's survived? Who's lasted?
Well, has he gotten all these guys fired, or he sort of just left some of the time?
That, which is you could say is an indictment on itself. Here is, we have a little Coach K.
Yeah.
Where's he talking here, EJ? Oh, he's talking to John Fanta. Okay. He's talking with a Big East reporter from Fox, right? John Fanta. Coach K says he ignores anyone who doubts JJ and that JJ was hired because he's the right guy for the job.
Well, I don't say anything to him because what they say doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And to think that any organization would hire anybody because of glamour or whatever is ridiculous. Like, every organization wants to win. If JJ gets a head coaching job, it'll be because that organization believes that JJ is the best person, the best coach to lead their organization.
Do you think that's why JJ was hired, Pearl?
I mean, yeah, definitely. That's obvious, right? What possible flaw in that logic is there?
No, was he the best guy to lead the organization, or was he LeBron's guy? I think you think he's LeBron's guy.
No. I mean, I think he would have been a serious player for the other two vacancies. He was interviewed with the Hornets. I think he was going to become a head coach anyway, right? So this might as well be LA. Yeah, I do think his connection with LeBron is why he's hired. I think if he didn't do the podcast, but yeah, I definitely there's absolutely no reason any of that isn't true. What possible? You're saying the Lakers did this because of a splash? Like, who's saying that? I don't even hear that.
No, I think that the Lakers are probably doing this for a couple reasons. One, I think they're trying to read LeBron's mind, or LeBron's telling them, like, I respect this guy. I think it's a little the opposite. I went back and read some of the articles last night after Darvin Ham was fired. Right. Just to see what was sort of the messaging, who was trying to spin what after that. And a lot of it was preparation, felt like the players maybe had more of a grip on strategy than the coach did, and that's the opposite of JJ. So it's a little bit of a rebound effect, hiring the person who's maybe unlike the last person or has the qualities you didn't see in the last person. And I think that they didn't want to go to the number for Hurley. So here's JJ's like a clear plan B, I guess.
Well, what about the, So I think that, right, the other options were, James Borrego, Sam Cassell, who else interviewed?
Kenny Atkinson.
I think that
Coach
why
guys, not Sam Cassell?
They're all about the same level. Maybe give Redick a little bump because at least he's unknown. I mean, maybe he'll have a Steve Kerr effect. I think that Coach K is absolutely right. Like, you could easily make an argument, okay, JJ Redick's the right coach here. I mean, is it... What are we talking about here? It's not like they're turning down like Nick Nurse coming off his Raptors. I mean, there were no hot items on this coaching market, right? Like, I don't know. I don't see any flaw in what he's saying. Of course, they're hiring him to win. They think he's going to win. Do you think they're hiring him for PR or for LeBron? I think they think like, oh, okay, well, this guy's smart. He can drop some plays and maybe max out a little bit out of this flawed roster, right? Do you honestly think that there's more going on here?
I don't. I think it's definitely with LeBron in mind. Which again, I don't think it's a bad thing if everyone would just own up to it, and stop playing the charade like it's not about LeBron. Because I don't. There's also a reason why Redick didn't get hired by some of the people that have interviewed him already. Interviewed for the Raptors, interviewed for the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe he said no. I don't know, but seemed kind of desperate to get into coaching.
So what is the reason?
What?
No, you're saying there's a reason he didn't get hired. Do we know what it is?
I have no idea. I don't know why Sam Cassell doesn't get hired. A lot of these guys, I don't know why they get hired, but...
Well, I think at least he was definitely in the mix. He did get interviews with all these places. So
but let's not pretend like JJ's public... We said it. Like, he has this popular podcast and he's a popular media figure. Let's not pretend like that didn't play in at all. You say it's like an unknown. It's kind of ironic. I get what you're saying because he's never coached a game, but he's in some ways the most known of all these candidates because... He was a big-time college player, 15 years in the NBA, and was just calling the finals.
Well, here's the thing. Forget the podcast. The dude was just sitting in a seat where the guy before him just left to take a coaching job. Commentators always get coaching jobs, right? I mean, Steve Kerr kind of did that, too.
He was a general manager, though, Steve Kerr.
Right. He was general manager. Then he went back to TNT. And then, you've always said this, like, there's no way for a coach to up his value more than being in that booth because they're always right.
I know, but John Gruden won the Super Bowl already with a different team.
Forget the podcast. It's a very natural transition for the color analyst on the NBA Finals to become a head coach. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy, I'm actually surprised he never made that
Mark Jackson couldn't get a job again.
Yeah.
He sounded very smart calling those finals. I thought he was great.
Yeah, actually, it surprised me. But Mark Jackson would have gotten a first job. And honestly... I understand, like, a lot of people are criticizing JJ Redick for never having coaching experience, but we've now seen this a bunch of times where guys go from the league, like this Steve Nash style hire.
Yeah, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Doc Rivers once upon a time. I mean, I would say Steve Nash and Jason Kidd, a little bit different playing careers than
Derek Fisher as well.
Yeah, Derek Fisher, that would not be a feather in the cap.
No.
But, I mean, JJ Redick did have a long career. You're right. Those guys were obviously clearly brilliant basketball players where JJ Redick was just an awesome shooter. But
role player.
I think it's close enough where this is not such a wild hire. It's not a wild swing. I don't think what Coach Say is like, this is not for PR. This is not a splash move. This is because they think he can win. I believe the Lakers are at least telling themselves that.
855-212-4227. So there you go. I think Coach K is going to be a big part of this. He's going to have to be behind the scenes. Let's get to some headlines, and look who we have. The voice of the New York Yankees, Emmanuel Berbari, is here with us. Emmanuel, thanks for stopping by.
Great to be here.
Helping us out this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
How about this? Like, since we last saw you, you've been calling Yankee games, the New York Yankees, on the radio with the one and only Susan Waldman. Like, what's your life been like this season, man?
It's been crazy. It's like an overdrive. You don't really realize what you're doing, but you just go along with it and try to soak it in as much as you can because it sort of flashes by. It's already middle of June, and we're coming up on the halfway point of the season, which is sort of crazy to think.
I mean, Emmanuel, tell people, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Unreal. And you know that you're doing something right because clearly you have the skills to do this. You sound great. You and Susan developing chemistry. It's awesome. But everyone's super happy for you. You have to know and feel that there, for you to get this opportunity, like everyone's so behind you.
No, I appreciate that. It's like that means more than the actual opportunity is the fact that, people are supportive and want you to do well. And I think having those people behind you makes it easier to go out there and do it because otherwise it would sort of be more overwhelming for somebody at my stage. So, yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
I got to criticize your math, though. Halfway through the baseball season started 4 days ago. Are you sure about that? It can't. Are we already halfway through the baseball season?
No.
Right, especially for the people who don't. They say you don't look at the standings until Memorial Day.
Right.
So baseball season literally did start 2 weeks ago.
Flying by. You're absolutely right. I mean, it must be crazy for you. You're right. It must feel like it started yesterday.
Because I feel like it just started, and then of course more happened for us because John Sterling retired about a week into the season.
Yeah.
So
everything changed.
Things took off about a week and a half into the season, and now you look up and it's almost the All-Star break.
How stunned were you with the John Sterling news?
Yeah, a little stunned, but I wasn't surprised because the reasoning was what he's been saying for the last year or so. He loves the games. I think he could still step in there and do a game in his sleep, but he didn't want to come to the ballpark every day, and that made sense because he really didn't want to travel at all.
Right.
He didn't love getting out of bed, and he loves watching the games, listening to the games. He just didn't like going to the games anymore. So the suddenness of it was surprising, but not the reasoning. I was completely like, that makes sense.
Yeah, John's in his 80s.
Right.
And people think, you just like walk in and flip the microphone on. It's not that way. You got to get to the ballpark hours beforehand. You got to, go down to batting practice, all that stuff, and it's a long day.
Long day. You got to be there early in the afternoon, and then when you're getting into cities at 5 in the morning, and then you're at the ballpark at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's totally different. It's even hard on some younger people, let alone somebody who's been doing it every day for 35 years. So it's remarkable what he did for 35 years, not missing a game,
not missing an inning.
Yeah.
I mean, John, he was stuck in the bathroom, the elevator, got caught up in a conversation,
I had no idea.
Spilled coffee on himself. Like, John never missed an inning.
Right.
35 years and never one inning. Nothing. Oh, my God.
How is it possible?
Iron Man.
Well, I want to ask you a couple questions about this. I want to know specifically the best off-the-mic moment that's happened to you. You're traveling now with the New York Yankees, who have this incredible season going, best record of the American League. So much fun. So think about that for the next update. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, I'll think about that as we go. Stop by Sherwin-Williams. Get 30% off Super Paint products and Super Deck strains from June 14th through the 24th. So that's going on now. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Well, covering the NBA, he talked about JJ Redick. He got the Bulls trading Alex Caruso to the Thunder for Josh Giddey. So the Thunder land one of the best role players in the league. Caruso, 2-time all-defensive team guard. And this is a guy, general manager, Oklahoma City, for a while. They've been targeting him. 41% from 3 last year, top 5 in steals. Meantime, Giddey was the number 6 overall pick from 3 years ago and played in a career-high 80 games this past year. Eventually did come off the bench in the playoffs. So interesting trade going down right there.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a more one-sided reaction to a trade ever. I mean, it was like a yellow tape around social media last night for the Bulls. Like, as you guys see, like, this is like, what the heck? Should they just fold up? What is going on? I mean, EJ, you saw it too. It was like a murder scene.
And I think they're kind of right? I mean,
oh my God, no draft picks for
I kept
Caruso?
waiting for more of the trade to come in. I'm like, all right, where are the other details about the first round picks that the Bulls are getting with this also? And it never came through.
So do they just see a lot in Giddey?
If they do, then they see something that I don't see.
Giddey could not get on the court in the playoffs, and he seems to kind of he kind of has a Ben Simmons syndrome, I think, where like if the team is not built completely, utterly around him being the focal point at point guard, he has zero value. And the problem is, I think a team centered around Josh Giddey is not winning a lot of games, which maybe is not a problem the Bulls are worried about because they're not winning a lot of games anyway. But yeah, this trade was bizarre, especially because during the season, the word was that they had these great offers that they were turning down to see if they can get a better offer in the offseason. And then this is the offer they get?
You're so right. I felt like Caruso was going to be one of the prizes because look what Drew Holiday just did for the Boston Celtics. Caruso's defense is like that, you know?
Yeah. Also, I love that Mark Daigneault, the coach of the Thunder, coached him in the G League. Those pictures are funny as all get out. Like they look, it was a long time ago now. I think it was 8 or 9 years ago. I love this move. I'm jumping on that bandwagon so hard. I'm a Thunder fan through and through. I say we go down to OKC.
Trying to convince you for months now.
You got to ask if EJ saved you a seat.
I know. I already told him. I asked him this morning if I could have permission to be on the bandwagon. I did sort of jump on the T-Wolves as well. But those, I mean, geez, the Thunder look like they're ready to go.
Yeah, so they land Caruso here. Not any draft picks involved, straight 1-for-1. And you guys covered this, JJ Redick officially to the Lakers. It's a 4-year deal, so Dan Hurley turned down 6 years, $70 million. Redick for 4 years, and of course that strong relationship with LeBron James. You think that's the key reason this happened?
Wait, okay. I believe LeBron that he didn't actually call up the front office and say, you have to hire this guy. But I think the only reason he's there is because he got the podcast with JJ Redick.
Wait, I thought you just said that JJ was getting all these interviews and he was going to be hired anyway. Why not the Lakers?
No, but I do believe all that. I do think he was going to be a coach. Yeah, he was absolutely going to be a coach within, if not this offseason, next offseason. Absolutely. But I do think like the Lakers saw the podcast and be like, so no, do you believe that LeBron actually, you kind of now believe that LeBron did not make the call?
No, I think LeBron did make the call. I wish that he would just lean into this more and be like, this is my guy.
Oh, so you think he secretly made the call and he's lying?
I think the whole idea about LeBron not being involved with the coaching hire is the dumbest idea of all time. Because as I said, he's involved with the firing. And
so
why not be involved with the hiring?
Career.
What's that?
I feel LeBron's been doing his entire career with that coach.
He's not there. The Lakers aren't going to hire somebody if LeBron doesn't sign off. And I think that Darvin Ham, I don't know if that was like a quote unquote LeBron guy. And I think LeBron's like, all right, I'm doing it my way now. This is what I want. I want JJ. And I think he should show ownership of it because that would help everyone else fall in line.
Okay, but I got to put you on the spot.
Go ahead, Pearl.
Wait, Maggie, did LeBron call the front office and say hire JJ?
I think Rich Paul did it, but yes.
Okay.
My question though is then I question LeBron. I question LeBron a great deal because his idea is to hire a guy with zero experience.
I think that the rest of the field wasn't great. This Dan Hurley thing. I don't believe Woj that he was the target from the beginning. Like, that's just not true. I mean, Dan Hurley even came out and said, yeah, it was Monday. It wasn't weeks ago. It was Monday that this started to get a lot more serious. I think that almost like this is just a bad draft this year. I think this was not a hot coaching cycle. Mike Budenholzer got scooped up right away. You can't go back to Vogel. You already did that. Yeah. I don't know who else was out there. You have a guy, Jeff Van Gundy, who just got back into the mix. I don't know who, Borrego, I guess, but again, unknown.
You just made the point earlier that, JJ Redick having this PhD basketball kind of mind impresses us and impresses maybe the average NBA fan. That impresses LeBron James?
I know it impresses LeBron, I guess.
How
they love doing the pod together. It looks like it.
Right, but to me that seemed more like optics and more like some kind of vision that I actually supported. That they have to we need to explain to folks basketball on a deeper level because we're doing too much whatever.
Too much hot take culture.
Yeah, and but what does that have to do with being a head coach? That's the connection I don't get. How you thought doing this podcast with JJ Redick made sense. I could see that vision. How that became he should be coaching, Alex Caruso, not Alex Caruso, Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and developing their game.
I mean, Brian Windhorst said that the podcast has been the job interview. So I think he's kind of right about that. Here's a question,
it's
EJ.
ridiculous.
If you don't think this whole thing Pete, is ridiculous. But here's the thing: if it's not JJ, who do you think LeBron wants to play for?
I think I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that's the problem. Is there really isn't a LeBron acolyte out there, right?
Ty Lue's not coming.
Ty Lue's not coming. Mike Malone's not coming. These are guys that he's worked with in the past, right? Who's a guy that's connected to LeBron, whether it's Cleveland days or Miami days? Maybe Chris Quinn would have been a guy. I was a little surprised Chris Quinn didn't get more play, I guess. But maybe he didn't like playing with Chris Quinn. I don't know.
Again, I think Coach K has something to do with this. Sure. I think he's got LeBron's ear, and if Coach K is saying, listen, JJ could be the next me, or people are saying he's the next Pat Riley, that means something. Who's LeBron respect? Riley and Coach K, right?
I think you're wrong. I don't think this was LeBron's hire. I mean, I think LeBron tacitly hired him, but I think Rob Pelinka has been trying to gain control of the situation. I think he sees, here's a young guy I can move forward with. I don't think
who's controlling JJ then? Pelinka or LeBron?
I don't think Rich Paul called anybody. I don't think LeBron called anybody. I think Pelinka's put this together.
Do you think that they tried to guess what LeBron would like, or do you think that he just purely did what he wanted?
I think I don't know Rob Pelinka personally, but this seems like something he would have done with or without LeBron.
Okay.
He's like a smartest. He's also a smartest guy in the room guy for sure.
Maybe, but how does this for Pelinka? If he's saying I'm going to hire JJ Redick to wrestle back power from LeBron and clutch, how does this do that?
I don't think he was thinking about wrestling back power. I think he's like, oh man, I got to make like a signature hire, like a notable hire.
Who everyone thinks is LeBron's guy.
I mean, well, regardless, though, this is a notable hire. James Borrego is not a notable hire. I mean, James Borrego, has he ever even made the playoffs as a coach? Like, what did he do?
Like play-in, that's close.
He made the play-in
maybe they should have
once.
just ponied up a little bit more for Hurley. It's not like they don't have the money. If the Pistons have the money, the Lakers have the money.
No, I would have loved to get Hurley. I don't know what happened. I think his wife kind of kiboshed that whole thing.
Andrea put the kibosh on
If this was a non-LeBron hire, they would have talked to more candidates.
Oh.
Well, they did do a bunch of preliminary interviews, like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, but
they didn't get serious with anyone.
They got serious with Hurley, but I think they would have talked to him a little more outside the box.
Interesting.
No one was hiring Kenny Atkinson to coach the Lakers. You guys stop.
My problem with the whole thing is LeBron's is going to retire in 2 years. The organization needs a 5-year plan. So listening to LeBron is probably not the smartest thing for the organization, as far as I'm concerned.
855-212-4227. Manu, we've left you no time for more headlines.
Let's do Rick Woodfield next hour.
Let's do it next hour because that was quite a scene.
We got a bunch
night.
of stuff to cover.
Okay, fantastic. Manuel Berbari is with us all morning doing updates coming up. Trevor Lawrence speaks after he got paid. We do a little football next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Get away from basketball and JJ Redick for a second. Talk about Trevor Lawrence, who put pen to paper on this massive contract. Pictures coming out yesterday. Everybody's happy, doing press conferences. Trevor Lawrence, very, very rich person. Now, here's what he had to say, which it caught our ear a bit. Trevor Lawrence says this is the best Jags team that he has been on.
Kind of felt like we started to build this thing from the ground up in 22, and then last year continued to grow, and then this year, like I said, the free agents in the draft that we got, I'm really excited about. I think this is definitely the best team that we've had here in my eyes, just at this point in the year. From what I've seen, I feel very confident in that.
Yeah, the best Jags team he's been on. You know, you look at it on paper, he's probably right about that. I think the question is this team good enough to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, no, that's not the expectation, is it?
I think it has to be, yes. I think once you sign the big deal, I think that, and honestly,
but now
for
everybody
Lawrence,
signed it, though.
It was only going to be a matter of time before the expectations became Super Bowl, right? Because he's a number one overall pick, generational talent, all those things. We watched him win in college. We know what he could be capable of. What else would the expectation be besides Super Bowl?
I think they'd be thrilled to make the playoffs this year.
Well, they've already made the playoffs, had an all-time win in the playoffs, and made it to the second round, and honestly came pretty close to being the Chiefs in Arrowhead. We've seen this.
I mean, honestly, it's so funny because that AFC South has become all of a sudden much more competitive division.
Yeah, how about that?
I think they're worried about the Texans passing them by. I think they're worried that Tennessee and Indy actually have signed a bunch of players as well. No, I don't think Super Bowl is the expectation here. I think they'd be very, very happy to. They were going the right direction, then they took a bad turn backwards. They got to get the ship going in the right direction. This is a ship going in the right. And why is this team better? I don't understand, like, the draft and free agency. I understand, like, a quarterback has to say that, but on paper, it's not really better. I mean, they lost Calvin Ridley. I'm not sure what's so better. Gabe Davis is the big difference here?
You know, I think he's probably talking about guys like Trayvon Walker or maybe taking a step forward in terms of development. You did add an Eric Armstead who comes over from San Francisco, so you have to think that that's going to make a bit of an impact here. They brought my guy Gabe Davis, who's not Calvin Ridley, and then drafted Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, who everybody loves.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they were one of the teams that really loaded up in the offseason to me. I mean,
Well, they
2 years ago.
loaded up, 2 years ago.
So right. But then we said last year that roster was ready to go. So I'm not sure. I don't really look at this roster and be like, oh my God, they're so much better. I think they're kind of the same team. Last year, really a big issue was when he got hurt.
Definitely.
You see his numbers before and after. They were 8-3. Like everything was looking good. That's why I'm saying, and I think I'm in the majority here. I don't think people are looking Super Bowl here. I think people are like, okay, we got to get it going. You just paid Trevor. I think he has a timeline of 5 years to get this to a Super Bowl level. You're right. Eventually, it's to win a Super Bowl. But just because you pay $50 million nowadays does not mean you should expect a Super Bowl out of that. Otherwise, half the league's going to want a Super Bowl.
Yeah, $55 million. But I think what's funny is last year, I picked the Jags to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And it didn't seem odd. Remember, I had my logic. I thought they were going to get the number 1 seed because I thought the AFC South was going to be weak and that number 1 seed in the AFC was going to help them to get the bye and all of that stuff. And you kind of agreed with me with my logic.
Oh, totally. I was right there.
And I think this team is better.
Well, why do you think this team is better? That I don't totally get.
Well, again, I think that the guys taking a step forward together. I mean, yeah, you lost Ridley, so I think that is a loss. I'll give you that. The
schedule's going to get harder because Tennessee just absolutely loaded up. There's no doubt about that. Indy's definitely going to be better if Anthony Richardson is playing.
Yeah.
And Houston definitely got better as well. So I just think the whole AFC is so crazy talented. I just don't think Super Bowl is a realistic expectation. And that maybe that's what you should get for $55 million. But would you feel good if they were 11-6 this year? You wouldn't say, "Oh man, that was a disappointment," would you?
I would not, but I'd like to see something in the playoffs. I want to see, Trevor Lawrence has gotten all the benefits here of being and having the great reputation.
Definitely.
And let's see it now. Let's see the production. Let's see, just because he's in Jacksonville doesn't mean we should hold him to a different standard as we would Josh Allen's or Joe Burrow's or anyone else. But he's in that conversation. He should be.
Be realistic about the team around him, though. He does not have a Super Bowl roster around him.
855-212-4227. Coming up, we're asking a question. Will this quarterback be on their team next year? Lots of football going on this Summer Friday. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
There's someone in the chat who steals the show. He sings along, he cracks us up all day. We call him wrong, but he's living life in 20-second views. Scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daly's keeping score. YouTube's his love. He's begging for more. Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow.
3 minutes, 30
Daddy's
seconds.
hooked, he's looking for the show. Chasing trends, Daddy's on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Daddy's voice.
Remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Step on up, JJ Redick. The floor is yours, man. You're going to get a lot more attention than even you may have thought. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's funny to think a guy who just called the NBA Finals, is on 15 podcasts, played 15 years in the NBA, and was a star at Duke could somehow get more in the spotlight. But here you go, and that's what the Lakers bring. And it's funny, Pearl, because whether this is going to work or not is kind of like in the eye of the beholder. Because what does working actually mean? If nobody believes that this current roster is good enough to win a championship in LeBron James's last years, then what's JJ Redick going to do? How is he going to be considered a success when the two guys before him, one actually won a title with the Lakers and another one got to the Western Conference Finals and they were almost immediately shown the door?
I think that right now we're in late stage Kobe Lakers. Just being competitive and in the playoffs. Say that if they get the 5 seed, I think everyone in LA is happy, even if they don't come out of a very tough Western Conference.
Then why not keep Darvin Ham? You know, if that's the goal, why not keep Frank Vogel?
They didn't even get out of the play-in this year.
Because they ran into the Nuggets, you know.
I mean, they did. Sorry, they didn't get out of the first round. They didn't get out of the first round, right?
Right. They got swept by the Nuggets last year in the Western Conference Finals. They won a game off the Nuggets this year. Improvement.
I know that you're absolutely right. I also didn't feel Darvin Ham on the sideline either. I felt like he did not maximize that talent. Do you think it's a championship or bust situation? Because if that's the case, then the JJ should have said no.
I think that's why he got hired. I think that the Lakers still have to be telling themselves we're a couple moves away. I mean, LeBron is 40, but that's really just a number. I mean, we are watching something unprecedented with a guy who's, not only still has the skill, but LeBron's kept his body in this unbelievable shape. This is not MJ at the casino type things. LeBron really has focused on that, and he has, extended his career in this way that you still have to put him in the conversation.
Yeah, I just disagree. I don't think age is just a number. I think it's a real number in this case because you even saw it last year. He did amazing things, but it's going to go downhill. I mean, he's already had his best days, and injury risk gets higher and higher. I think it was a real number, and I'm amazed what LeBron does at 39-40. He's ruining it for every other athlete because nobody's ever going to be able to do this again. He's not just basketball. He's so good at this age that he's ruining it for all the sports. But I just think it finally starts to hit him this year. And I think next year it's going to be even way worse. So, no, I don't think championship's a realistic goal here.
So it's interesting, right? So if you're bringing in JJ Redick, but you don't think championship is a realistic goal, then what is he bringing to the table? Like, why him over somebody else, right? Why him? Because you got to look at the relationship between him and LeBron. Okay, that exists. We know that they do the podcast together, and that's great. If LeBron's there for 2 more years, then JJ Redick, starts over with a whole new team and a whole different thing?
Why not? He's 40. I mean, would you rather have...
No one in the NBA survives like that.
Yeah, I know. But that's why I wanted Dan Hurley. It was the perfect short-term, long-term answer because you could start over. He'd be a good... Dan Hurley might be a better rebuild coach than even JJ Redick. But I think maybe if Lakers front office said, well, JJ Redick, he can do something brilliant here. And if it doesn't work, then he learns a lot. And then in 3 years, he's ready to go with a young team. They have to rebuild at some point. I know you're the Lakers. At least get rid of LeBron and Anthony Davis on your cap and bring in another superstar at some point. Or Davis is there till 2028, which is a bit of a problem. But I think JJ Redick answers a lot of the issues they have here. I think it was not a bad hire.
We don't even talk about Anthony Davis, and maybe we should be talking about him more because how much is his buy-in? I always kind of felt like Davis in terms of, I always thought he kind of went along with whatever LeBron and Clutch were into, right? I mean, the split out of New Orleans was so incredibly messy. I mean, they had to bring that to the public. I remember they dropped the news on like a Sunday night just to make sure it landed on all the shows on a Monday. I mean, they really did this calculated thing to get him out of New Orleans, and I felt like he was just sort of along for the ride, not basketball-wise, but just like mentality-wise on sort of whatever LeBron and Clutch want to do. Yet I'm being told, JJ's really got to win over Anthony Davis. Like, that's the most important thing. I just don't buy it. I think Anthony Davis takes his cues from LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, why are we doing all this for the Lakers? It's just it's at the end of the day, it's a basketball team with a coach. It's like, why are we assigning all this meaning to all these relationships? I mean, Anthony Davis, what power does he have? He's been, I'm sorry, a disappointment since 2020. I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams want him, but he can't really be like, I'm Giannis here, can he?
No, but he had a good season last year. He was healthy. He could have been Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he was really good. And the reason why we care about this so much is because we're watching the end of a legendary career.
Right? LeBron, like with LeBron, it matters. I'm kind of agreeing with you. With Anthony Davis, I don't care what Anthony Davis wants moving forward because I don't think he alone can lead a team to a championship. So I would not, kind of the same thing you're saying, I would not take Anthony Davis's desires into account when I'm hiring a coach for the next 5 years. Like, I don't care what AD wants.
855-212-4227. If you want to watch the show, you can always do that. Listening to us is phenomenal. I mean, you're getting everything just by listening to us. But if you're curious what we look like, if you're curious about any of that, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, where on this Thursday, boy, that's coming pretty fast. This upcoming Thursday, I will be eating the tuna fish jello live on the air.
Oh, great.
With a side of Rocky Mountain oysters because I doubled down like a dope and then didn't triple down, which could have saved my bacon, and I didn't do it. And that's just a little where I am right now.
Down?
I could have tripled down. I thought the Celtics were going to win, and Perloff thought the Mavs were.
Oh,
I'm like, but I'm the worst at this right now.
That would have been a great bet, obviously, in hindsight.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, but I got to be honest. I was gonna make her give me odds, so it was gonna be a real terrible downside for Maggie.
5 games? How many more? Like, you probably would give her 5 games, right?
No, I mean, I'm saying like the punishment would have been so awful.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been all time, like shave an eyebrow punishment level.
I was not. I couldn't. I was on such a cold streak. How could I possibly triple down?
I was going to make it a risk that would not have made it possible.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I can't like get a tattoo. It's just at this point, it would just be silly.
I mean, we're talking face tattoo at that point.
God.
Tyson style.
I don't think that's my season. But that's going to happen on Thursday coming up. So stay tuned. And, if you just listen to us, you're definitely going to get the full effect of me eating this tuna fish jello and the Rocky Mountain oysters on the radio. But if you do want to watch, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. All right, let's do a little football. Just that music. Aphrodisiac. Just kidding, guys.
Wow.
I'm just joking.
I don't know. It didn't sound like a joke.
Yeah, Friday night at our house, a little NFL filmed and a bottle of wine. Okay, EJ has a quarterback he's going to throw out. We'll tell you whether they're going to be on their current team past this season. Elijah Stewart, take it away.
Okay, so let's talk about Justin Fields. We mentioned yesterday it feels like he's kind of relegated to the backup role right now in Pittsburgh. Will he still be in Pittsburgh next season?
I'll go first on this one. No way. He's a free agent. I am getting a bad vibe about Justin Fields in Pittsburgh, and maybe I'm totally off, but I think it's going to be really hard for him to maximize his potential here because this is a place where quarterbacks lately have gone to die. I think that he definitely will play. I agree with you on that, but it's not going to look great, and he's going to go out onto the market and be a bridge quarterback somewhere else, like at New Orleans or something next year. I'd say this is a one and done.
I think he still is going to be on the team. I think he's going to be the starter. I think he said he wanted to play in Pittsburgh, which is, you're right, not exactly the quarterback haven, outside of Bradshaw and Roethlisberger and a couple others but like he wanted this. He wants to play for Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere. He just got a contract extension. So I think he stays, and I think he does show a little something when he gets on the field and they keep him and Russ is gone.
So what are they going to pay him, $50 million?
No, I think that you can find it in between for him. You can find a Daniel Jones situation.
Okay, 2 years, $80 million, but that means that you are stuck with him. Okay.
For 2 years? Why not? Who's next, EJ?
Let's go to New York. What about Aaron Rodgers? Didn't even step on the field for the Jets last season except for 4 plays. He'll be playing this season. We hope for more than that. Is he on the Jets next season?
Yes. Yes, he is on the Jets next season. I think this is the last team that Rodgers is going to play for. I think that he picked New York for a lot of reasons because they wanted him. First and foremost, they gave him basically the keys to the kingdom. Secondly, and I think he loves the idea of being in New York. I think he's going to use this to sort of catapult his media career. Not that he couldn't have done that out of Green Bay, where he was super popular as well. I think this is the last place he plays. Bro.
Who does Aaron Rodgers model his career off of? There's only one man. Brett Favre. Favre came to New York, played 1 season. Now, Rodgers hasn't gotten that 1 season yet. I think this is his 1 season. And then he leaves for another team next year, maybe the Vikings, because it doesn't seem like things are going great for JJ McCarthy. Just like Favre, I think it is an incredible coincidence. He joins another NFC North team next year. He takes one more shot with another team. These guys at the end tend to travel around a little bit. Jerry Rice had like 4 teams in his last year. So I think that Rodgers has one more real effort to win a Super Bowl somewhere else.
And what team is inviting that in?
I watch
more
the
baggage
Vikings.
than comes
Watch
with
the Vikings.
Jerry Rice.
Well, I mean, listen.
He could leave you at any moment to go run for VP.
The Vikings were the most hated rival of the Packers, and they were coming off a scandal-ridden, injury-ridden Brett Favre year, and they're like, yes, please.
That's true.
That is true.
This is the NFL. Who wants that? Probably 24 teams, Maggie.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Let's go to Dallas. So Dak Prescott's entering the final year of his contract. Still no contract right now for Dak in terms of an extension. Is he the Dallas Cowboys quarterback next season?
Yes, and it's going to be, because of the way Jerry Jones brilliantly plays things, he's going to wait too long, and it's going to end up costing him $89 million a year. He's going to end up having a good year. If they don't sign him this offseason, Dak will have a good year, and Jerry will end up paying even more than he ever could have imagined. It'll blow up in their face, but I don't know what it is. I can't picture Dak in another uniform. I can't see these two quitting each other.
I think this is it. Maybe I'm taking the cheese a little bit. I think that I could see Dak Prescott being the story off of this upcoming season, going into the offseason, where it's like, you think, like, Kirk Cousins free agency was something? Like, just wait, guys. Just wait. I could see Dak being this big story, teams courting him, paying him this crazy amount, and the Cowboys starting over. I could see it.
Do you think people really want Dak that bad? Like, I feel like he's just like a slight 2% better than Kirk Cousins, which people did want.
Well, there's a Kirk mob out there. So
yeah, but the Kirk mob, there's not a Dak mob out there. He's never really played with it. Kirk's played with everybody.
That's true. Kirk's been around a little bit. Okay, let's go to Miami. Tua Tagovailoa, another guy looking for a contract extension and doesn't have it quite yet. Is he the Dolphins quarterback next season?
I think so. I think he's here. I do. As long as McDaniels is here, I think Tua is here. I think they're going to be better than maybe most of you guys think. I know Perloff is not too bullish on the Dolphins. Do think the Dolphins are going to be good this season. So, yeah, I think Tua eventually does get the contract, and he's there.
I think he gets a contract this year. I agree with you. He'll get the offseason. There's a Spotrac came out with a projection that he'll get $49 million. That's like a magic number. They can get him at a bargain, under $50 million. I think that he has every incentive to come down a little bit on that $50 million going rate at quarterback. I think they get something done. Probably, I'm going to guess, in between Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray, 3 years at $48 a year. And they do it this offseason, and he is back next year.
Who's our last one, EJ?
All right, so he's on a new team already, but he's got some competition in the QB room. What about Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons? Penix is there. Is Kirk Cousins still there next season?
I say yes. He has a no trade clause. I was just looking at his numbers. Like, he's not that expensive if somebody wants him. But I feel like the Falcons have two scenarios. Either Kirk is really good and they want to keep him, or Kirk's not really good. And then who's going to trade for Kirk Cousins to pay him next year? I think they're stuck in this situation. Kirk will be there. Will he be starting? I'll say yes. But that is an even more interesting question.
Okay, I think Kirk's going to be gone because I think the Falcons are going to see things behind the scenes with Penix. And I think Kirk, listen to what he says. He left Minnesota because they wouldn't assure him that he would be the starter. He wants to go somewhere where he can be the starter. So even if he's good this year, I think he would say to them, let's find a team for me. And that Kirk mob is out there. So
yeah, you're right about that.
Would they be willing to move him somewhere? Kirk doesn't want to compete for the job. He's already told you that. And this is, this Penix situation is not ideal for him.
You know what gets stuck in my head a little bit is coming off an Achilles. Does he have that value out there in the NFL? It seems like nobody cares about Achilles injuries anymore.
Especially for older quarterbacks.
Yeah,
whatever.
When I was a kid, like, you snapped your Achilles, it was like over. And now Kirk and Aaron Rodgers are back in 8 months. But whatever. I like your logic on that one. You might have convinced me. But a lot has to happen. I mean, it's not that simple. What if Kirk goes out there and throws 35 touchdowns and Atlanta wins the division?
855
Very possible.
212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in. You're welcome to weigh in on JJ Redick. Is this going to work with the Lakers? Is there any way this is also drama-free?
No. No, because even if they're good, it becomes the biggest story in the NBA, maybe in years. Like, if they really, they made the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, if they actually maybe are a top 2 Western Conference team in the regular season, they're the team of the NBA.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that. This is going to be the biggest thing. You're right. This is going to be a lot of attention just because JJ's notoriety. Maybe the Lakers are crazy like foxes. You want attention. You want to sell tickets. I don't know if coaches do that, but again, there's going to be a lot of intrigue around here. Maybe this helps them from a business perspective. Maybe this helps them. I don't know.
That feels like an impossible scenario you just spelled out because, I mean, there are real powerhouses coming up behind them. Like, they're going to be better than Dallas, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver. They're going to be the story of the West. You're talking about a dream conference. No way that happens.
Yeah, but there's definitely a different, the fan base is just the size of it, the sheer size. We talk about this like the British Empire. The sun never sets on Laker fans.
But the drama might be there. But I'm saying, like, they're not going to be the story of the year because they're dominant in the West. They're not going to earn their way to story of the year. Yeah, the drama, I agree, will be there. But there's just no way that they come out and they're the number 1 seed and just a dominant team. I'm sorry. Like, I can't even, in my wildest imagination, unless they pull a roster move here that neither you or I could even imagine, how on earth are they going to be better than those other teams?
Coming up, I found a new pet peeve that I didn't even know I had until yesterday. And it's hit me like a lightning bolt. And now I can't get off of it. I can't think about anything else. I mean, I'm here with you guys, and my head's in the game. But something happened to me yesterday. I'm like, I can't believe this happened, and I can't believe I got to deal with it now. What am I so annoyed about? I'm going to tell you in just a couple minutes. It's Maggie and Perloff. Hang tight.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Okay. The reads for the second one. Okay. This is Andrew. Okay. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. If you didn't listen yesterday, Maggie shared a story of how these people moved away from her at a restaurant and it bothered her. So we went to lunch yesterday and we sat down at a restaurant and I was immediately eyeing the entire room. I'm like, all right, who's going to be offended by Maggie? Do I have to be careful here?
I actually walked in. I was like, I can't sit next to those people.
Yeah.
I have to sit over on the other side of the restaurant.
But it worked out cool.
Yeah.
You didn't have your kid with you. So we've discovered the issue is not Maggie. It's going to a restaurant with a child. Like we need to discover that. We all knew that.
Even a well-behaved one.
Now we have a new pet peeve today. What's getting under your skin? I'm dying to know.
Incensed yesterday. Just out of my mind yesterday because, okay, so I got my kid's 5-year-old birthday party this weekend. All right.
That's
so
already a stressful situation.
Yeah, thank you. I'm already on edge. Okay. This happened to be the type of party. I don't know if you've ever done this where you, especially with like the paperless posts or evites or you're sending them out via the email. Sometimes you just start inviting people. You get a little invite happy. And a lot of people said yes, maybe a lot more than I expected to say yes. So I'm already like, wow, I didn't expect all these people to say yes. So the party is maybe a little bit bigger than I had already anticipated. How about this but that's not the pet peeve. How about this for yesterday? Yesterday, the party's Saturday. Yesterday, 10 more people RSVP'd yes.
Oh, you'll get more.
10 people.
For a kid's birthday party?
Yes.
How many kids are coming?
You'll get some tomorrow, too.
Well, now it's going to be 22 kids. So, like, here's the thing. We're having it not at our home. We're having it at one of those trampoline places. It's like a big warehouse where you just jump on all these trampolines. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I love those places. But this is blowing my mind. You're saying 22 kids are coming and 10 of them responded yesterday?
22 kids are coming and five kids and what was it? 5 kids and 4 adults? No, 6 kids and 4 adults.
They waited till that is crazy.
So the pizzas are already ordered. Like I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back now and see if I can get more pizzas because I don't want to run out of food. And not only that, I'm paying by the person now, which is fine. I invited these people, so I've got to expect that people are gonna say yes. But it's more really about the food. I've also got to pay for these socks that you have to jump in specifically. Anyway,
I got to tell you,
I know this is a me problem. I get it.
This is also like, I don't know. We don't run into these problems because my wife is on top of that RSVP list. It's like if she hasn't heard like 4 weeks out, she's like, "Hey, Susan, what's the deal here?"
That's me with my daughter's first birthday. We had it in the backyard, but still, like I was on my top. I was asking my wife, "Hey, this person hasn't responded. What's going on?" "Oh, yeah, they may come." I'm like, "Well, give me yes or no."
Right.
Yeah. So Maggie, you had to contact those people. I hate to say it. That sounds like putting a lot on you, but you had to reach out to those other parents.
I did on Monday. I resent the invitation.
That's way too late. Way too late.
Well, you had to have the number of pizzas that you want by Wednesday at 1. So on Monday, I resent the invitation, and I did follow up and text one person. One person ended up texting me, and another person just RSVP'd. So I actually did follow up on Monday.
You're a wonderful parent, but I'm giving you a C- on this one. Sorry.
I did everything I was supposed to do.
C- and that's generous.
Wait, how am I at fault when I reminded everybody on Monday and they didn't even get back to me until Thursday?
You should hire my wife. She runs it like invading Normandy. Like the amount of organization around the party, like that you have that many non-RSVPs coming into the week of the party.
How is it
crazy.
my fault? I resent the invitation on Monday and people didn't get back to me until Thursday. I sent out the invitation 4 weeks ago. If you get the reminder on Monday, like, oh man, I can make it. Don't you just automatically, within at least 24 hours, not Thursday for a Monday morning email.
You have to send a text or an email or a call. You can't.
I did send an email.
If you do it a week
No, an individual email, not a group email.
If you do it a week out, I feel like there's more of a chance for people to get back to you at the end of the week. And that would screw you like it did now.
Yeah.
If you did it 2 weeks out, I think there's more leeway.
No,
I
I
can't
think
believe you guys are blaming this on me.
Pete, you got to go one by one. You got to go parent by parent. EJ, you have no idea what's going on here, but yes, you got to go parent by parent. But what were you going to say?
No, I think Maggie didn't do anything wrong here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but of course you did. You're a single. You're
as someone
a
who
man.
does flake sometimes and not respond to emails or invitations, I'd say that I put that on myself.
But kids' birthday parties are a totally different set of things.
Yes, there should be.
Yes,
we all know what this is like, Pearl, so there should be a level of tact here. All the people who did this are people in my same station. It's not single people like EJ. Well, they're not single now. You got a fiance. But it's not people with no kids. It's all people who do this birthday party thing on the regular.
Yeah.
You got to know better.
Well, obviously you did not know better.
No,
What's the result?
I did. They didn't. This is not my fault. This is their fault.
If people want to be there, they will be there. And 2 weeks out, I think, is a good measurement of it.
So you're still blaming me, though, because I did it on Monday.
I'm not blaming anybody.
Well, let me ask you this. Will you do it the same way next year, Maggie?
I'm not doing anything next year.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Now, which is a shame because this is not about me.
Yeah, now your kid
It's not my
suffers
kid.
from now.
Wait, so you're not going to have a birthday party?
No, we will. No, see, here's the thing, too. So my kid is actually born on July 1st. So
My
that's
mom's
a bummer.
birthday. That's cool.
Right. So it's tough, though, because it's the
Yes.
July 4th weekend. So you do have to, if you do want people to show up, you've got to accommodate that holiday schedule. So there's always a little leeway with his birthday. Like last year, we were on vacation. So we just did it on
I think
vacation.
that's part of the problem, though, I think, because this is also for New York City schools, like the end of the school year, too. I think, like, parents' brains, I think, are mush at this point in the year. So they're seeing invitations. Like, I don't know if they really were paying attention to this invitation, I'll be honest. And now they're like, oh, snap, that's happening. Okay, yeah, I'll go. And they don't realize how much of a hassle that is for you. I'm not making an excuse for them. I think you're right. I think that, hey, if you say at a certain point you haven't decided, you can't just pull up and say, actually, I'm pulling up. I cannot stand those people.
Well, so pizzas, cupcakes, everything's been ordered.
Well, I will say this: if that place can't adjust now, knowing that this happens
all the time, yeah,
then that's on the place.
I mean, I don't know that the pizza place is going to need to call their wholesaler to add an extra 2 pizzas here. In fact, I'm sure you already ordered the pizza for your party?
No, you do it through the place.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what? They could get 2 more pizzas.
Do you understand? I'm getting charged for everything.
Okay, well, that's
party.
what this is about.
So yeah, it is a little about that. And I think it's fair. I'm already getting gouged because if you want to bring in your own food, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg just to bring it in, right? Which I get. That I get. But I'm getting charged for every single possible thing. And I guarantee you I'm going to get charged some kind of pizza late fee because of this.
What is it, Spirit Airlines?
It feels like it. The fine print on this thing is you get a complimentary person who takes photos of your kid while they're jumping, but you have to pay $75 to take them out.
Can I tell you guys?
That's one of my parents. I think I had one birthday party in my entire childhood. And that was it. And I think they realized this. Yeah. I think they were like, this is a racket. We're not doing this.
It's bowling or bust. That's it.
So can I tell you another side story that we didn't agree we were going to do on air, but Maggie brought it up. We were hearing about a Disney World trip, and the cost made Maggie's eyes almost come out of her head. Pete, I think you've been there, right?
Well, we're going in August.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to parenting. When people say kids are expensive, this is what they mean. There is you have no idea. You think a birthday party at a bounce house is expensive? Wait till you get down to Orlando. You're going to see costs like you've never imagined in your life.
I know, but you act like I haven't been doing this. We take our kid to Mexico because my brother lives there.
That's Mexico. Go to Disney. Mexico is way different.
Here's the thing. I could go to Europe twice for the amount that it allegedly costs to go to Disney. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying, how? How are all these people doing Disney if it's going to cost this much? I was flabbergasted. I tried to hide it. Do you think I hid it pretty well?
I have no idea. I don't even know what you're talking about. Try a cruise. If you want to start spending money, do a cruise.
It's because of all the marketing that's done at Disney's for kids, and kids want everything. So that's why it costs.
Are you kidding me? A day at Disney, whatever you think it's going to cost, multiply it by 3. Because there's some cheap plastic piece of crap that they need, or they're going to completely melt down. Pete, I apologize in advance.
Well, I'll say this. My aunt-in-law, she wanted to do it for the kids, and she purchased the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, benefactor to go to
And
Disney.
you're like, wait, you just said, I took my kid to Mexico for less. I mean, come on. Wait,
she's spending a ton of money, and I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to say here. I'll just tell me where to go, and that's it.
I mean, it's not like we're hanging in Tijuana. Like we're going to a nice place in Mexico.
I'm just saying,
it's
like,
expensive.
Europe, like no parent is going to waste a Europe. Like, yeah, it'd be way cheaper to go to Europe, but like kids don't want to do that crap. They want to go to Disney World.
Oh my! I almost choked on my lunch. I was like, oh my God, what? And I tried to hide it. We should get to Emmanuel. He's got headlines. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, and stop by Sherwin-Williams. Get 30% off Super Paint products and Super Deck stains from June 14th to the 24th. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
I'm done with pants.
Got some interesting sound on Pete Fairbanks, the Rays closer, later here, and what's going on in baseball in Birmingham. But JJ Redick, we mentioned the 4-year deal to become the new Lakers head coach. Carmelo Anthony on his 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast says Kobe Bryant, national team days, wasn't particularly a fan of Redick's.
And I remember Cole couldn't stand JJ Redick. So he coming to practice. I hope somebody vouch for me on this story. I swear to God. If everybody who's on that, they know. You know, people know. They might have their own version, but people know. The moral of the story is Cole took it personal against JJ Redick in practice because he got tired of Coach K kept talking about JJ Redick, right? Cole took it very, very personal.
So how did he take it personal?
He was running through screens in practice. He was denying JJ the ball. He was fouling the out JJ. I'm like, damn, why are you treating a young boy like that? I'm like, what's the problem?
That's exactly how he was.
What's the problem? No, Coach K keep talking about this. He coming up here to do something. This. I'm gonna show you today. This let JJ Redick score, bro.
All right, so
I had
no
no idea
fan.
what was said the last 20 seconds.
I counted 8 bleeps in the last clip.
Some stories are legend and myth. This one absolutely happened. Does anyone have any doubt that that's exactly
definitely.
how it went down?
I would bet my mortgage on this. I think it definitely happened. I think Kobe invented villains like Michael Jordan did.
Oh my God, the dude took out his own teammate in the Olympics. Like he was. I can see him hating JJ Redick with such a passion because everybody hated JJ Redick at Duke, and Kobe didn't, want to go to Duke and didn't end up going there. Oh, this would have been delicious.
By the way, this idea that the Caitlin Clark, what she's going through, is so foreign and never happened before.
Yeah,
well, that's
a
little dose of reality of how it was for JJ Redick.
How about this? Maybe we should be giving JJ some props. Made it through that, had a 15-year career, took a lot of crap, and lived to tell about it. Now he's the Lakers head coach.
Well, kind of floated around the perimeter. Didn't have to. I mean, all I
came
did
in the
was
league at the right time.
Quote Jerry West. What did he do in the league?
Made it out to the other side. Baseball, Rickwood Field, Birmingham, Alabama, the oldest professional ballpark in the country, and the Magic kind of came alive last night for the first time, hosting an MLB game. Cardinals, Giants in the throwback uniforms, a nod to the lineage of the Negro Leagues. You had the St. Louis Stars uniforms and the San Francisco Sea Lions uniforms, and they paid tribute to a lot of people. But top of the list here, Willie Mays, who passed away on Tuesday, 93 years old, actually played for the Birmingham Black Barons in 1948, that right around integration. And sort of fittingly last night, you had an Enterprise, Alabama native who had the biggest night, Brendan Donovan, went to the University of South Alabama. 3-run blast in the first inning. He went 3 for 4, and the Cardinals held off the Giants 6-5.
I had heard about this field. I know a lot of my buddies have played here, but I'd never been here myself, so I wasn't sure. They always told me it was a big yard, so I'm glad they brought the fences in just a tick. But, man, I was just looking forward to being around some friends and some family and hopefully getting the dub, and that's what we got tonight.
Yeah, there were plenty of cool features in this game, but you had the tribute to Mays pregame on the scoreboard. Mays' son Michael came on the field with Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr., so it covered a lot here. And I also liked on the broadcast when they had the old school telecast. They made it black and white.
So awesome.
Things were kind of sped up. Yeah, the old school audio. So yeah, they did it right last night in Birmingham. All right, Rays outlasted the Twins in extras 7-6, and we'll have a few cuts here from Pete Fairbanks because he allowed the game-tying 3-run homer to Jose Miranda in the 9th, then bounced back to close it out in extras.
I put it in the spot that you don't want to put it, and he didn't miss it. So hats off to him. I absolutely destroyed a few things in the cage and then regrouped, and we got it done.
Wait, what was that?
Yeah.
So he destroyed something.
Yeah.
Elvis is shaking his head. It's nothing bad, Elvis. Look, let's just say that I owe the Minnesota Twins visiting Cage a new IKEA stool.
A new IKEA stool.
There needs to be a new stool. Not bar stool height, like one of the mini ones that like kids use. Yeah, it's not non-existent anymore. But, sometimes you got to get it all out to go out there and put up another 0.
Like Like vaporized a stool.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Very
Yeah.
specific. at
Fairbanks.
IKEA. I owe them another IKEA.
He had another outburst earlier in the season when he was asked, like, what went wrong in your outing?
And location, selection, anything specific?
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
All-encompassing suck.
Yeah, I know. It's funny you say outburst, but it's like it should be an outburst, but he's so calm. It's like
Right.
psychotic how he's delivering these.
Hannibal Lecter outburst.
Yeah, right. It's like I'm calmly telling you the facts of how crazy I am.
I would not want to be a stool in a bullpen with that guy. He sounds like he could burst at any moment.
Yeah, Pete Fairbanks is also like 6'8". He's like one of those towering dudes. He throws 100 with stuff. Like,
He's got those eyes on the mound where you're like, I don't want to cross this guy.
No.
It feels like a movie when the guy goes in the other room and you hear the destroyer and walks out and he's very calm. It feels like like Major League or something. That was
I feel
perfect.
better now.
Yes. Yeah. Until next game. Wow.
Emmanuel, thank you so much. Appreciate those headlines. We'll hear from you next hour. Coming up, we check in with our pal in Pittsburgh. What is going on with the quarterback situation between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson? Andrew Filipponi from The Fan in Pittsburgh joins us next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
I know.
Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch it wow. Trying to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you're just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. Enemy, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot beginning. You're just shadows in the game, flickering. I'm the headline, forever ticking. Behind the scenes, EJ Stewart switching lanes. Bilottti's got the keys, but can't start the flames. Got a line on the set, but it's just a single game. Need a new playbook, cause yours is just lame. And your Roach with the updates coming fast, but even he can't save you, you're in the past. Games changing, better rapid broadcast, cause I'm laying down tracks, and they're built to last. You aim high, but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game, I'm the aristocrat, and you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house, and I'm taking my shot. Game set, match like you're not. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north, I
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. Perloff, we've getting a lot of differing reports coming out of the Steel City, so we wanted to go straight to the source. We need some boots on the ground here, and for that, we turn to our pal Andrew Filipponi, 93.7 The Fan. Pony, thanks so much this morning. How you doing?
Maggie, I'm great. I have an 11-month-old, so this time works out perfectly for me. That's not an issue. Your producer's like, I hope 7:40 a.m. Eastern does not bother you. And I'm like, dude, she's up at 4:30 screaming that she wants fed. So everything's good here.
Next time we'll try to make it earlier for you, Pony. We'll do whatever we can to accommodate. And congratulations on that, by the way. Okay, separate a little fact from fiction for us on what's going on with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Is this an actual quarterback competition or not?
No, it's not. Not even close. It's Russell Wilson's job. He'd have to get injured or he'd have to quit football to not be the starting quarterback week one. He absolutely will play. We went through this before with Tomlin when Trubisky was signed and Kenny Pickett was the first round pick. He said competition the entire time. There was no competition. Trubisky got just about all the reps with the ones. The only time he did not was when they wanted to rest him and give him a day off or give him a couple of snaps off in practice. Everything I've heard is that in OTAs and mini camps, every starter rep, every first team rep has gone to Russell Wilson. Justin Fields has literally gotten no playing time with the starting unit. So that should be the indicator for you guys. It's not just pole position. They are setting this up. They are rigging the competition and making it so Russell Wilson will be the starter in 2024.
Andrew, is this based at all on what they've seen performance-wise from the two quarterbacks, or was this what they decided before they even got them out onto the practice field?
This is how they signed Russell Wilson. Perloff. That's how he chose this team, or why he chose this team and picked the Steelers for the league minimum, because I think that there was a handshake deal in place between him. I know there was, in fact, with him and Mike Tomlin of the organization. Why else would Kenny Pickett demand a trade? Why else would Kenny say, get me out of here? The writing was on the wall. Now, Kenny could have stayed and hoped that Russell Wilson flamed out or failed like he did in Denver the last 2 years. But every indication I've been given is that that was the motivation for Russell Wilson signing here. He was not told, hey, come to the Steelers and compete for a job. He was basically told, if you sign here, you will be our starting quarterback, and then you determine your fate from there.
Andrew Filipponi is joining us, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, talking about the quarterback situation with the Steelers. So where does that leave Fields? Perloff and I were talking about this yesterday. Pony, I can go back to, seeing you at the Super Bowl hanging out, and there was a legit question, were the Bears going to trade the number one pick, pass on Caleb Williams because they want to keep Fields? We saw what the market was, but we also know Fields wanted to go to Pittsburgh. So maybe the Bears may have turned down some better offers to accommodate the player. Like, where does this leave him now?
Good question. There are some insiders here that think he's going to get an extension before the season starts, which is going to placate him and give him the feeling that even though he's not the starter at the beginning of the year, he is their long-term quarterback. I don't agree with that. Now, I know Tomlin likes Fields a ton. I think that if Russell Wilson, for some reason picked the Raiders or the Giants or another team, they would have been okay with bringing Fields here and making him their starting quarterback. My gut feeling on this is that if Wilson is not great or very good, there's going to be a moment in this season where Fields plays. There's going to be a spot where Tomlin is looking for a spark and he wants to see what Fields can do, and he puts him in and he plays, and that will be the audition for him to be their starting quarterback next year. I think Russell Wilson has to be Geno Smith in Seattle in 2022 or Baker Mayfield in Tampa in 2023 to be their starting quarterback the entire year. I do not think, and I know people bring up 26-8 touchdowns, interceptions. I think if he plays the way he did in Denver last year, he will eventually get benched by the Steelers too, because I think that ceiling on them, if he plays that way, they can't win the AFC North and they'll just barely be scraping by for a playoff spot. And I think Tomlin will be tempted to go to Fields because of the dynamic playmaking. And like you mentioned, Maggie, there's uncertainty about his future with the team because they didn't pick up the fifth-year option on him.
I noticed a quote from Omar Khan, the GM of the Steelers, the other day, talking about what a special person Justin Fields is, and he seemed really bullish on Fields. I was wondering what his motivation was because Maggie and I have been talking. There's been a lot of kind of slightly negative headlines about Justin Fields this offseason. There was some stuff that came out of Chicago that he wasn't seeing the field right. We
Didn't get along with the quarterbacks like Andy Dalton and some other
guys.
guys.
Yeah. I didn't even remember that one. And some funny practice videos. Did the GM want to say something positive to change a narrative, or is that really how he feels?
Well, so that interview was with us. I
apologize. I saw it randomly. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You're in our brains, Pony.
Thank you. And that was the first time he had talked since the draft, so there was a lot to get into with him. So, look, I think that Justin Fields has this type of personality when he's around. I've heard this from players in Chicago. You want to follow him. He has leadership qualities. He's not as polished as Russell Wilson with it, but I still think that gene is there. I still think that that's something that makes him that part of him makes him a franchise quarterback. So I do think that that's partially what Omar Khan was talking to. He also, in that answer that he gave us, he started by making a joke about the kick return thing. And I think Madden just put out a trailer where Fields was returning a kickoff on the first play. Like, there's been a lot of conversation about using him in like a Cordell Stewart role or Lamar Jackson when he first got to Baltimore. And I don't know. I think that Fields, he's pushed back on that internally. And I think the organization wants to make it clear that, hey, we only view you as a quarterback. We don't think that you're someone that needs to play wide receiver or be a wildcat player or be a gadget player for us. We view you as a quarterback. And I think Khan, he's great at manipulating draft boards. He's good at finding value. He was a capologist for a long time. But I do think when it comes to football, he takes a lot of his cues from Tomlin. So I think a lot of that was regurgitated Tomlin speak on what type of player he scouts and evaluates Fields to be. So I do, like I said, I think that Tomlin's bullish on the guy and does believe that there's a franchise quarterback in there somewhere. He's just scarred by what happened in Chicago.
Andrew Filipponi joining us, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, trying to get to the bottom of all these headlines coming out of Pittsburgh, a lot of them that Pony is creating himself. The Brandon Ayuk situation in San Francisco is getting pretty messy. He's out there on social media, Pony, basically saying they don't want me. The Steelers have been a team that at least on the outside people say, well, this could be a good fit. I haven't seen anything concrete linking Ayuk to the team. What do you see?
Well, I can link him to the team with you right now. I know that they were working very hard to trade for him and thought that they could get him around the draft, that San Francisco would possibly wilt in that situation and would do what Tennessee did with A.J. Brown, essentially, figure that they can't sign the guy to a long-term deal, take what they could get for him. Obviously, that didn't work out. I know that on the Steelers' end of things, they were trying to make calls and set something up. The 49ers did not want to budge then. I also don't think that the Steelers I don't think it ever got to a point where like a real hard trade offer was made. But I think they got the impression that what they wanted to give up at that point was not what the 49ers were willing to take back in a deal. But since then, a lot has changed, right? Wide receivers have gotten big money, not just Justin Jefferson, but Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jalen Waddle. I think the Waddle deal, too, is what is really pushing Ayuk to demand $28, $29 million a year. And it sounds like from the reporting there and what we saw in that TikTok video, that San Francisco just does not want to get to that number. Plus, they gave Jennings money. They gave McCaffrey money. They drafted Pearsall in the first round. So I think all signs point to a divorce or a split there. And Ayuk doesn't want to play for $14 million. And what do you know? The Steelers restructured Alex Highsmith's contract to give them the cap space. I don't think the money is the issue, Maggie. I think that the issue is really what the 49ers are willing to take back in a trade and when they're willing to make that trade.
Real quick, Andrew, we're coming up against it. What's the expectation right now for this team in June? Are we talking playoff, Super Bowl? What do fans want out of this version?
Yeah, not Super Bowl at all. The expectations here are to win a playoff game for the first time since 2016. But I think that fans' opinions on their quarterbacks are all over the place. The only thing we can agree on is that the price was right. They have two quarterbacks with potential, making only $4 million in change. And that excites people based on the quarterback play we've got in the last couple of years.
Andrew Filipponi, where else? 93.7 The Fan, doing a fantastic job. Thanks so much for doing this, Pony. I mean, again, we'll get you up earlier if you want next time.
Yeah, tell Amy I want to do a whole hour with her sometime.
Overnights, yeah.
And next time I quote you to yourself, I'll know it was you who I was talking about. Sorry about that.
All good, boys. See ya.
See ya, Andrew Filipponi.
I'm like, I heard this quote. I hate that I did that.
Where could that have come from?
Omar Khan told some dude. Yeah, he's like, yeah, that was me. Oh, my God.
I blame the internet. We are not crediting people the way that we need
I
to
know,
in this day and age.
I'm embarrassed about that.
No, not you. I'm saying everyone else. Like, we're not giving the proper due online when somebody breaks something. We've been on the other side of that where we've broken news and nobody knows it's us. It's infuriating.
That was a lot of really interesting information on the Steelers. Wow, this is a team to watch now.
If they extend Fields, everyone's head is going to collectively explode.
They're talking
hilarious.
to Jordan Love 2 year, not deal with the 5th year thing.
I get it. It's just so funny because the guy's not taking any snaps at the once.
Right. Well, yeah, but it'd be extending him like kind of backup money. I can see that.
It's so funny. All right, more Lakers stuff next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, just when you thought the Lakers couldn't get any more Lakers, they make it official with JJ Redick, star hire. Not really convinced that this thing is going to work. And Perloff, good morning. Not convinced this is going to work, maybe because of the JJ Redick side of this, and he has no experience coaching in the NBA. But I don't know if I trust the Lakers. I mean, 7 coaches since Phil Jackson. You know, it seems like maybe whatever way the wind blows, they've tried a lot of different coaches and none of them have been able to stick. So not all of this is on JJ, why I may not think it's going to be a success. A lot of this is on the Lakers too.
Yeah, I don't put it on the organizational dysfunction, which seems really to be there. It's the roster. I mean, okay, LeBron's going to turn 40 this year. Like, Father Time is the problem, not the fact that we don't know who's calling the shots, not the fact that JJ Redick has no coaching experience. LeBron is not LeBron James, and you're still trying to milk out a title out of this team that just does not have the players. So what difference does it make if Linda Rambis is the one who made the decision?
Linda was the one, according to Anthony Irwin, was the one who raised her hand in a meeting and raised some red flags or at least some reservations about hiring JJ Redick, because it is a little bit of an odd fit if you're asking about trying to maximize the end of LeBron's career. I understand what you're saying. It might be delusional to think that they can win a title no matter what, but we haven't seen what they're going to do in free agency and in this offseason. Trades could be coming. They have a couple draft picks, ones that are not reserved for Bronny, that they can trade. They do have some pieces that they can trade, some players they can trade. So the team could get a bit of a makeover. The roster part of this, I'm willing to reserve judgment and withhold judgment for now. Why I think that the Redick fit is just square peg round hole is that you are trying to, with whatever roster, you're trying to rip off another title with LeBron.
Right.
you would never trust a rookie player in this situation. You would never say, oh, we've got to hand the keys to a rookie point guard in this situation when you're trying to win a title and you're trying to trying to eke this thing out here with LeBron. So why would you trust a rookie head coach in this situation?
Because you have to because your roster is not championship worthy. You have to take a gigantic swing at head coach. That's the only way you're going to figure out something here. They need somebody who just looks at it way differently, and it's going to come in like Steve Kerr to Golden State, change the offense altogether, and maximize a roster that right now, if you just get the same old Frank Vogel type, you're not going to win a title. Unfortunately, you could easily get out of the Eastern Conference. Maybe you run in the Celtics, but the West is so competitive. You need to take a swing here.
Okay, and are we sure? I know that JJ comes across as a really smart person. He's obviously impressed LeBron on this podcast, so I understand that, but is he really going to come in and be that difference maker? Because you're really putting a lot on him then. So if it's not going to be LeBron and Anthony Davis kind of leading the way, it's got to be JJ coming up with a whole new scheme and let's be honest, like there's a defensive side of this too, which JJ is going to have to get buy-in also. And listen, they're professional basketball players. They should play defense, but you know what I mean? It's an offensive, maybe different philosophy, and then it's also going to be a recommitment on the defensive end where you have Anthony Davis anchoring in the middle, but Anthony Davis is telling people, I want to play power forward. I don't want to play center anymore. So you got a lot of things here. You're really putting a lot on Redick when I know you might think it's crazy, but the expectation is championship right now in LA.
So why would you hire a retread like Kenny Atkinson, former Nets coach? Like, what's the point of that? Because that's going to be business as usual. That's going to be Darvin Ham 2.0.
Well, the reason why I think Atkinson actually would have been a sound choice is he's already got that thing that we talk about, which is you go somewhere, you're a head coach, you learn a lot, maybe you fail, but you've learned from that experience. Go to like the Bill Belichick thing, right? Goes to Cleveland, has a bad experience, has a fine experience, but then learns from it, regroups. Kenny Atkinson has also been back to the Warriors since they've won, so he's been around so much winning. And if you actually want to talk about a guy for now and the future, that's Atkinson. He's the guy who actually can win, has the experience to help you now, and is known as someone who's a great developer of talent down the road. I mean, if LeBron James really, once Dan Hurley's out of the mix, if you want the right person for your son, Kenny Atkinson is the guy, actually. I don't know if JJ Redick is. I've watched Kenny Atkinson develop young players. He did it with the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, man. I don't think hiring Kenny Atkinson, you might as well just not even have a season next year for the Lakers. I mean, they would have been so mid. The other thing, too, like, there's very serious roster issues. They got to get rid of you got to hope D'Angelo Russell doesn't come back. I know it's his decision.
Yeah.
They definitely.
You could always trade him if he opts in. Opts out, you could re-sign him. You could trade him off of that.
I don't know that it's going to be that easy to get rid of D'Angelo Russell. I feel like he's going to be back.
A draft pick, and you could probably move him.
Oh, great.
I'm just saying, you're asking for
that's what you're getting?
Solutions.
You just had to attach a draft pick? You need that draft pick to either get a player.
He actually didn't have a bad season last year. The playoffs were a little bit bad, but, they weren't in the playoffs for very long. So,
and the other thing, too, is they definitely need another big if they're going to. I mean, look at what Dallas did with Gafford and Lively. They need some of that action. They definitely. I know it's about Anthony Davis not wanting to play five, but Anthony Davis is not enough against the Nuggets. So it's so hard in the West because then you build a team to beat the Nuggets, and all of a sudden a different team, the Mavs, come along. I just think it's an impossible situation. And what do you mean these recheck? The Kenny Atkinson's not the model. JJ Redick's the model. First time coaches. That's who wins. Joe Mazzulla, Nick Nurse, Steve Kerr.
Joe Mazzulla and JJ Redick are not same. That is a guy who's coaching the G League Maine Lobster Claws or whatever the name of their G League team is. And then let's keep in mind, they didn't want to put Mazzulla there. They had to because Ime Udoka had a scandal and they had to scramble on the fly.
But it has been a lot. I don't know if it's pure accident. A lot of guys on their first team, Mike Malone, who are winning titles. So the model is...
No, Malone was at the Kings. He didn't win a title.
Oh, he didn't. He was the head coach of the Kings. Oh, my bad. Anyway, but Eric Spoelstra, he was definitely first time, right?
Well, he was from the video room. Pat Riley groomed Eric Spoelstra to become the next Pat Riley, and it worked.
Right. So, but a lot of first time coaches, not a lot of retreads are winning. That's a hard model too.
Well, again, you just mentioned Mike Malone. He was a guy who did do that, right? I think you're probably...
So what's more common?
I think they're both a mixed bag because, even you could say guys who went from playing straight to coaching, it hasn't been exactly a straight line. Jason Kidd did it. It ended weird in Brooklyn. It ended weirder in Milwaukee. And now he's here with the Mavericks. And to be honest, he was on the hot seat like 6 months ago. So it's changed now. It's not perfect either way.
Well, I think that the Lakers fans are not necessarily thrilled about JJ Redick, but I think they would have revolted if they had hired Kenny Atkinson. I'm just using Kenny or David Adelman.
Watch the Warriors win. Like, you've been watching the Warriors, and he's sitting right there, right next to Steve Kerr. So I don't know.
That's the guy you wanted?
I think if you were actually talking about Dan Hurley, the guy who made sense for now and the future, right? Because he's a good coach now and he can develop in the future. That's actually what Kenny Atkinson does. He has experience and then he's the developmental guy. That's why Kevin Durant got rid of him essentially when he got to Brooklyn, because he didn't want a developmental guy. And again, I just bring you back to this with LeBron. He would never trust a rookie point guard to try to capitalize on his golden years. So why he'd be trusting a rookie head coach to me is like, I don't get it.
So why'd they hire Darvin Ham?
I don't know about Darvin Ham. I have no idea. I think they like the fact that he had won a championship as a player, maybe. I have no clue.
He was on Bud's staff that won a title. So he was kind of similar to Atkinson in that regard. To my guy,
but
who was
had no head coaching experience.
No head coaching experience. Atkinson, I guess, coached the Nets. But, it's same in that regard. You were on a staff that was successful.
Maybe they thought played in the league was a little bit different, too. Had this sort of respect with playing with the Pistons team. And that was, again, this is the Lakers why I don't trust them a lot of times. And it's not just them. Teams do this. They flip-flop. It's like someone being on the rebound from a breakup. It's like you had Frank Vogel, who was not like, was Frank Vogel in the NBA and I missed it? Right. So you're like, we had a guy, even though you won a title with him, well, now we need a guy who was like in the NBA, and maybe he'll relate to the players a little bit better. And then
you got stuck with Frank Vogel. They didn't want to hire Frank Vogel. That was never the plan, right? Did they want Lou that year?
They wanted Monty Williams.
Or they wanted somebody else, and then Frank Vogel was just left over. Not totally dissimilar to this situation.
Again, they won a title with him, and then they showed him the door less than 2 years later.
I totally disagree with you on one thing. I do not think there's a coach that can coach the roster as it currently is. I don't think the Lakers can get out of the West. I don't think, honestly, so I'm like, well, you might as well swing for the fences with JJ Redick. Maybe he is this brilliant mastermind. Maybe he's the next Steve Kerr.
It just doesn't feel that inspired to me, because we've seen this happen kind of a lot now. Like, people keep saying how this is like, the big swing, or this is like going outside the box. It really isn't, because Steve Nash did it. Derek Fisher did it. We mentioned Jason Kidd. Like, this is now an avenue you have where you hire the guy who's never coached before, but is a recent player. You hope that he can take that experience into the head coaching thing. And none of those guys worked out in their first time around. We mentioned Steve Kerr, but Steve Kerr was around a team at least. He was a president or a general manager of an NBA team. So he's not so removed from the development. He's not so removed from the strategizing of being on an NBA team. So that's a little different. There really isn't a example to point to where a guy who never coached before goes and coaches a team, that's trying to win now.
Well, Doc Rivers with the Magic.
But that wasn't a win-now team.
It was not a win-now team, but he did well, but it wasn't a win-now team. It doesn't have near the expectations.
Yeah, no expectations compared to the Lakers.
But there is this, we know, and it's probably unfair, and I know it drives Pete nuts. There's this genius label with JJ Redick because of the podcast. Like, there's a lot. Like, JJ Redick talks the talk. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, and even more, Nash we knew was brilliant because we saw him play. But Redick, like, he's got this label. It's just there. I mean, you can't ignore it. Look at the lines that are coming out about him.
Pete, were you reading any of the coverage yesterday of what people had to say about Redick?
No, because I knew what he thought about it. I didn't need to see any more of it on TV.
You
in front of my face.
Can I read one or two to you?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's a tweet. JJ Redick, you are absolutely a brilliant basketball mind and NBA voice. Have been listening to your podcast and I'm going to check out your other content. It's fun to listen to someone who actually knows what they're talking about on multiple levels that includes NBA experience.
Who wrote that?
Some guy with 40,000 followers of basketball. JJ Redick is smart and entertaining, yet most significantly, he's remarkably candid. It's rare to see a former player who honestly can critique any player. He is brilliant. I want to see him as a coach like he was as an analyst.
Yeah, and he has never been a coach. Let's just document that. And he's going to go coach one of the best basketball players ever, who's very particular. So it goes from when you go from a podcast to the actual court, it gets very different.
I know, Pete, but we kind of gloss a little over the 15-year playing career. But to your point, like, if Jason Kidd couldn't make it work in his first go around,
if he's interjecting like he was when he was a player and he was annoying. Yeah. Annoying the locker room, basically. I mean, he could be annoying.
Here's one more. Casey Stern
I know Casey. Yeah.
As an avid listener of the pod for years, the dude is brilliant. He's a brilliant basketball mind. It's outside the box. I think there's a likelihood this has great success.
Look, he might be the best thing since Einstein, but until you do it on the court, you're not getting anywhere. So try to do it with LeBron in LA. A lot of pressure. It's much different than sitting there with a bottle of wine or a box of wine and breaking down game tape.
How about Ramona Shelburne? A coup for the Lakers.
Well, look, all those ESPN people are going to say that too.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to pump him up.
Yeah.
You know, it's their big coup because their broadcaster got the job.
How about Kevin O'Connor, the Ringer, big basketball writer? My bet is JJ Redick will be a good coach. He's driven, intelligent, and a major competitor, and he's meticulous in his attention to detail. These are qualities that best coaches have. Can't wait to see how this all works.
Well, look, I hope for the Lakers it works out for them because you know what? They could have had a really good coach in Hurley if they really wanted to spend the money and they really wanted to go after him. And they could have gone outside the box too, and they didn't think about that. They went to this guy and let's see. But I don't have much confidence in it considering the track history of LeBron's coaches.
Mm-hmm. Cycles through them.
And the only thing that annoys me about it, and I talked about it before on the show, but the idea that JJ is driven, meticulous, intelligent, and not these other guys because they don't have a podcast is crazy.
That's what's driving him nuts.
Everyone at this level has all those qualities, or else you don't get past the first interview.
We're assuming the guy who is not doing the work that those other guys are doing is more intelligent, more driven, more passionate than those guys.
He's the only guy that can do it.
Yeah. No. I disagree. Because have we heard those guys do all those things on a podcast? I don't think so.
Man.
Until it's in podcast form, it doesn't exist, guys.
You have that podcast, and then you have the other podcast that we've heard some this morning that is a curse every 5 seconds. So I mean,
pick your poison.
That's right.
The other is that's the Carmelo Anthony podcast, which is not for the faint at heart.
It's Carmelo head coaching
what
job.
What is the name of that?
7 p.m. in Brooklyn.
What does that mean?
Free plug.
I think it's a Drake reference.
Ooh.
Because Drake he has these songs where he does a time reference and a city. So like 6 p.m. in New York or 4 a.m. in Toronto. I think that's what it is.
It should be the Knicks Shouldn't Retire My Jersey podcast.
Wow.
Oh, God. Ouch.
Off the top rope there.
855-212-4227. Let's hit the phones. Adrian is in Maryland. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, TGI Friday, guys. Hey, my problem is I think this is a bad hire because the hire should be for Anthony Davis, not for LeBron, because LeBron's not going to play no more than 2 or 3 more years. As far as everybody's talking about Bronny James and this developmental, this is not a developmental league. The NBA is a players' league. You have to be able to play. Why do you think Giannis's brother sits on the end of the bench and cheerleads? Because Giannis is on the team. That's why he's on the team. They're not trying to develop him. They made a favor. They did a favor for Giannis. That's what they're doing. A favor for LeBron. So developmental, no. He's got to go to the G League. And the thing I'm getting upset about is all these players that are coming out that are real draft picks are getting overshadowed by Bronny.
Yeah, Adrian, you're right. I mean, Bronny's become the story of the draft, not by anything that he's done. And that I can chap people and rub them the wrong way. Adrian, have a great weekend.
Great call.
The one thing, though, about I do want to stick up just for a second. This is in the weeds about Thanasis. So before Giannis was actually a thing, somebody did draft Thanasis in the second round.
Oh, no.
Thanasis was drafted before Giannis? I didn't know that.
They are the New York Knicks.
What
who
year was that?
drafted the
Of course
wrong
they
Antetokounmpo. Anyway, no, we get the point. He's a cheerleader. You're right. He's sitting there at the end of the bench. He's not doing anything. Adrian does have a point. The NBA is not a developmental league. However, we've seen this before where guys do get better and you have young teams that do start to ascend. I mean, look at the OKC Thunder. Like, you think Chet Holmgren, he's going to get better. Shea got better.
Well, I was going to say, look at the Boston Celtics, right? You're talking about a team that a bunch of homegrown guys in terms of their top 2 guys, Tatum and Brown. You had to develop those guys. The top 3 picks, but Jaylen Brown was definitely not a guy who was ready-made as a rookie. Like, there was development there. So I think that's a problem with the Lakers, though. Like, they actually don't want to do that work. And part of it's because they failed. Maggie's done a great job of talking about how they failed with Ball, failed with Ingram, failed with Randall, and they got rid of those guys. Some of those guys maybe got rid of too early. But them not willing to do that work is how you get to this situation where you're like, well, we got to kind of develop some of these young guys here, but we also need a guy that likes LeBron, and then you land on like a podcast host.
I gotta be honest.
It's a crazy route how they got here.
Those number 2 picks, they were in a bunch of crappy drafts. I looked at it back, like they were not. I know they could have taken Tatum maybe, but like a lot of those, like 2016 to 2022 were bad drafts everywhere. So I don't know. I'm not blaming them.
Okay, but
that.
both of those other guys, and D'Angelo Russell, by the way, is back again. So
Russell's back.
And Julius Randle did enough to get another contract.
Randle and Ingram became all-stars.
Yeah.
And honestly, like my pickup team could sign Brandon Ingram right now. Nobody wants that.
I get it, but they're not busts. They didn't totally
Absolutely
flame
not,
out.
yeah.
They are contributors and big contributors
right,
to other teams.
Clearing those guys out. I mean, you had to clear out everybody to get LeBron in there. I don't know. I'm not sure that they made that many mistakes. And by the way, Adrian's got to get with the program. It's all about Bronny and JJ Redick. Your common sense has no place in today's NBA world. What are you talking about?
Yeah, come on, Adrian.
Yeah, Pete, you don't fit in this either. This is a new world. It's Bronny and JJ's world.
Look, if they want to draft a guy that scored maybe 1 point in bad college basketball, that's fine. Look, he has his concerns too because of his health. You know, like I can see second round, but first round, I mean, you gotta have your head examined.
Stop with the common sense, Pete. There's no place for that.
You're right.
It was 4 points a game. How dare you?
Yeah.
855-212-4227. Coming up, one of our friends and someone we trust on all things basketball is our pal Rohan Karni. He's going to join us next. Rohan not only does basketball, he's going to give us the drink of the summer and the song of the summer as well. Do a little culture. Get everybody cultured here. Rohan's next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Coach of the LA Lakers. And now we wait. What's going to be the first move? How's this going to go? What are the Lakers going to look like when they actually take the court? For that, we turn to our pal, Rohan Nedkarni. We turn to you, Rohan. Good morning. For all things basketball and all things summer, you're going to give us drink of the summer, song of the summer, person much cooler than us. But first on the basketball, thanks for doing this.
By the way, not a big achievement, Rohan.
Yeah, congrats.
I'll take all the wins I can get, you know.
Is this JJ Redick hire going to work?
Wow, right to it, Maggie. I respect it. If I had to bet, if I were a betting man, I do think this is going to work, and I think for two reasons. Number one, I know that this podcast thing, it's all very silly, it's unique, it's unprecedented. Having said all of that, JJ Redick's a fantastic basketball mind. I think that's one thing about this hire you can't question. JJ Redick's someone who not only played in the NBA, played high-level college basketball, but understands the modern NBA. And I think that's something that's really important. He's somebody who is not kind of stuck in his ways. I don't think he's married to a style of basketball. I think he's someone who has an appreciation for what the NBA is now and where it's going. And that, to me, is, I think, a really big factor in this deal. The fact that they got someone who's young, adaptable, I think going to kind of evolve with the modern game, a tactician. These are all things that I think are really important. They're not the only important aspects of the job. Obviously, we're going to have to see how does he get along with the players? How does he command the locker room, especially under these unique circumstances? But if I had to bet on JJ Redick's basketball mind, I'm comfortable doing that.
Rohan, how do you know he has this brilliant basketball mind?
I've had the pleasure of talking to him before, certainly, and I think that goes a long way. I mean, look, the podcast, again, that's kind of the elephant in the room with all this, and it's going to be discussed, I think, ad nauseum between now and throughout however long he has this job. But I do think you've seen, not only in the way he covers the game for ESPN, his personal podcast, the way he talks about it, there's just like hours of footage out there of JJ Redick talking about basketball in a very smart way. Not only with LeBron James, but from players around the league. And you talk about guys like, whether it's not just LeBron James, it's Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Grant Williams, whoever he has on this podcast, the knowledge he has about what every team is doing, the sets they like to run, what this coach likes to do, this coach's favorite after timeout play, the way he's able to weave advanced statistics into his broadcast, but also discuss with players when and why they kind of have their place in the league. I find all that stuff to be very impressive.
Rohan Nedkarni is joining us. He's one of our dear friends, great basketball mind. You know, Perloff, Rohan, keeps, bringing up the other elephant in the room. If it's not the podcast, it's the roster. And whether the Lakers roster is actually good enough to compete in the West. what do you think their offseason plan is going to be? I know I'm asking you to go into the crystal ball, but what do you think would be some good options here for the Lakers if they're trying to upgrade the roster?
Well, one of their kind of big chess pieces was taken off the board. I think it's no secret that the Lakers were interested in an Alex Caruso reunion this summer. Now he goes to Oklahoma City, which is an issue for them. Another guy that I'm sure the type of player the Lakers would love to get their hands on, ironically, is the type of player they've been letting walk out the door for some reason for the last 3 or 4 years, whether it's Alex Caruso. You hear about a name like Contavious Caldwell-Pope, someone who is going to be a big target for teams this summer with cap space. Again, a guy the Lakers sent out the door a couple summers ago. So I do think one of the reasons why they went after JJ Redick is I'm sure he presented a plan to the Lakers. This is how I'm going to get the most out of LeBron James. This is how I'm going to get the most out of Anthony Davis, because that is ultimately going to be, I think, what their success is determined by. But there's no question they have to upgrade the roster. To me, it's not about getting caught up in names for the Lakers. It's about getting caught up in the right type of player. Those 3-and-D guys, those championship role players, what you're seeing kind of, if you're going to stop a team like the Boston Celtics, you kind of need size and shooting at every position. The Lakers used to have that. They need to get back to that.
Hey, what about the idea that they are kind of bargain hunters at coach, that they didn't pay up as much as they should have for Danny Hurley? And I know it's only 4 years for JJ. Are they more conservative when it comes to this? And is this part of one of their issues?
First of all, I'd love to be lowballed at 6 years, $70 million total.
It's insulting, really, Rohan.
I was a little bit blown away by that discourse, to be perfectly honest.
Me too.
That. But they were like, they lowballed Danny Hurley by making him the 6th highest paid coach in the NBA, even though he's never coached an NBA game before.
Taxes, Rohan. You know the taxes.
That one, frankly, never made sense to me. I do think that, there's this idea of the Lakers, they're very Hollywood and they got all the stars, blah, blah, blah. But, their ownership situation is unique. Their front office situation is unique compared to the rest of the NBA. And you look at where NBA ownership is kind of going with some really, really high moneyed individuals who've come in to NBA ownership the last few years. That's not the Lakers. Okay. It's a little bit of like a meme or a joke, I'd say, amongst their fans and a little bit locally, but it is kind of a family run organization still. I think that's why you get kind of situations like this Redick one that's played out over the last few weeks. Their organizational structure is unique. So I wouldn't say they're cheap. I think they gave Redick reportedly $8 million a year. That's a really strong salary, I think, for a first-time head coach, someone with his lack of experience, I should say, in head coaching. So it can be an issue for them. I mean, I don't think they were going to go get Monty Williams maybe at the number he got from the Pistons, but that wasn't exactly a well-received coaching contract either. So I don't think they're ever going to come in and be like the top coaching spender. But this narrative that they've lowballed people, I find that to be, personally, I didn't really agree with that.
Oh, Rohan, I was so with you. I'm like, how is this insulting to Dan Hurley? He just got $20 million less, by the way, to stay at UConn. Taxes by
Redick,
butt.
I heard Redick's taking a pay cut to take this job. I don't know. I think this is not that much money.
But here's the thing about Redick. Yeah. I look back, $117 million over his playing career.
He gets, you know how much he's making for these podcasts and things? I don't know that it's not a
$10 million a year in the media. That's Stephen A money.
You're paying Rui 16.
Okay, so that's a little on the Lakers stuff. That's a little on the basketball. Great note there, Rohan, too, that Caruso could have been someone that the Lakers were eyeing. And then that trade to OKC got done real fast, and we were surprised that Josh Giddey was the return. We kept waiting for more to come in on the trade. Like, where are also the first-round picks that are going back to Chicago? And as far as we know, that never happened. We bring you here to talk about basketball, yes, but also to talk a little about the culture in general. You've been so good about giving us drink of the summer, song of the summer, sort of lay out for us, Rohan. What do you see? What are going to be the cool things this summer?
Well, first of all, Song of the Summer was decided, and if anybody needed a reminder, I hope you watched that Kendrick Lamar concert the other night. I mean, it's not like us. I think I can't take credit for this, but I think it was Bomani Jones who said if Kendrick just went on a world tour performing only that song, the amount of peace that he could bring, I think, to different places, just the way people unite over that song, I think it's a no-brainer. So I got to go with Not Like Us as a Song of the Summer. It's obvious. There's no need to fight it. It's like every time you hear it come on, you just want to start moving. You know what I mean?
What about drink of the summer?
Drink of the summer, I had to come in a little bit differently this year because, I came in once really hot last year, and then Perloff was like, hey, man, I'm not drinking vermouth. And I was like, I totally respect that. I want to know if I can come in like really specific right now. I don't want to give away free advertising here. I know that you guys are charging millions for every 30-second spot.
Yeah,
on this show. So it's
yeah.
Yes, really valuable. You guys are in the Netflix Christmas ad space. Having said that, growing up in South Florida, something I cherish time and time again, the mojitos. But as I grow older, the mojitos, all that simple syrup, the mojito hangovers, all right, they hit a lot different at 32 than 22. So I'm going to come in for the Spindrift lime and mint flavor. It's actually called the No-Hito. No alcohol, but it gets you like 85% of the way to mojito, and it's delicious.
Wow.
So that's my drink of the summer.
What's the flavor? Lime and...
Mint.
Lime and mint.
Oh, my God.
Wait, are you putting rum in this or yes?
I'm not. I'm just going straight sparkling water, Maggie. Yes, I'm a changed man, unfortunately.
Whoa, okay.
By the way, Rohan, that's no joke. I hear young people don't drink anymore. First of all, because everybody's on the weed, as they say. But regardless, I bet you could walk into New York City.
He's high as a kite.
Yeah. I bet you could walk into any New York City hip scene and Spindrift. You head out a Spindrift or a Coors Light, Spindrift is the choice right now.
This is it. Clean living. That's the theme of the summer.
I think so. Look, I'm not saying that I'm going to practice this every single day. I'm just saying if I had to pick one for the summer, if it's sometimes you just need to. You can only have so many days where you drink like 12 Miller Lights, where you're like, you know what, let me mix it up and get some Spindrifts.
Can I?
That escalated quickly to 12 Miller Lights.
Can I put a little middle-aged dad spin on the Spindrift? By the way, if you just want to buy your own grapefruit juice and generic club soda and combine a little, then you save about 40 cents a can on Spindrift. Just saying. You can make your own, Rohan.
Come on. I'm figuring out ratios now. I'm juicing. What am I?
Listen.
Tell me about your fruit juicing setup. I'd love to hear more about that.
No. If you want to do your own bubbly water.
Don't encourage them, Rohan.
Yeah. Listen, I have a deal at Wegmans on club soda. I get you hooked up, dude. Don't worry.
You have a deal at Wegmans?
We're a big deal.
I have a Wegmans card. Believe me, I've done the math on the.
I see.
I'm sorry. We
club member.
We make a lot of money, but Spindrift money, dude. I mean, come on.
First of all, you really had me going there for a second. I was like, I knew the show was doing successful, but I was like, getting in on the Wegmans, ground floor, that would have been something.
Listen,
no. I have a
doors
Wegmans,
open for McLovin.
I have a Wegmans shopping cart. It gives me 3% off pickles. Wait, what did you think? I have Wegmans stock?
Yes, Danny Wegman and Perloff.
I got a deal with. I thought maybe you and your local Wegmans would work something out. You make a couple of appearances. You guys do a live show from the deli.
No, they just make him feel like a king. It's like walking into Publix. Everyone's royalty. Rohan, thank you so much. We appreciate this, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy what is the 30 seconds of the NBA offseason, if that.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime.
Thanks, buddy.
Rohan.
By the way, I also have a deal at Costco. I get a huge discount. I have a card, a membership.
Is your name's on it and everything?
My name's on it. I am a member. It's probably the most important membership of my entire life.
Shopping at Costco is very fun, by the way.
Which one do you go to?
There's one on Long Island, about 10 minutes from my house, Huntington area.
Isn't it crowded?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, fun is not something I associate with Costco. Efficient.
I like Costco.
Efficient.
Going up and down the aisles, I don't love the presentation. I'm overwhelmed.
But don't you guys ever overspend at Costco? It's like, yes. I didn't think I needed this, and then you walk away.
But the portions are so big,
right,
that you never feel like you overspent because you get so much bang for your buck.
It's value.
Problem though is I live in a house of 2 people and a dog, so I always think that we'll eat this all, and we never do.
And an apartment, right, where you can't have a gigantic box of Cheetos.
Valuable real estate.
This is why I don't have a Costco's card, because I would go in there and I'd probably fill up 3 carts with stuff we don't need. It's even though it's 4 of us in the house, we don't need it.
I always find that I go to Costco and I'm buying like stuff that has nothing to do with like food. Like the last thing I bought from Costco was a mattress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you get stuck into
the seasonal stuff is also great.
Yeah, but then you were like, well, these fruit roll-ups are only 37 cents per bag. Let's get 400 of them.
Exactly. And they got the electronics. They have normally a mobile carrier is like in there.
Yeah, they sell
so you
gold.
can get a new phone.
You know, they're a big seller. They've been selling gold the last year, and it's
Just
gone
bars
crazy.
of it?
Yeah, like you buy gold at Costco. It's a huge deal.
Wait, but not like a gold watch.
No, like gold that you invest in. Like
that you would
gold.
trade?
Yeah. Like, there's a lot going on at
Gold
Costco.
always
Like
seemed
Ron
like a
Swanson?
scam.
I don't know.
It's not, I don't think. But
Costco's gold sales are like a huge economic thing right
Everyone's
now.
buying gold, and I'm just buying rotisserie chickens left and right. That's my favorite.
You're doing it the wrong way, EJ.
Well,
You need to be investing in blood diamonds. Like,
where else can
gold
you
and
buy gold and a $4.99 chicken? I mean, this is
fill up your car with gas. The whole deal. Costco, there's so much more than meets the eye. Emmanuel here. He's the voice of the Yankees, guys. He's doing updates for us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Stop by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off Super Paint products and Super Deck stains from June 14th through the 24th. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. So you're talking about this. JJ Redick to the Lakers done. That's a 4-year deal. The Sixers, by the way, their interest in Paul George has reportedly significantly waned. That according to Shams. Philly's expected to be, quote, aggressive elsewhere with its cap flexibility and draft capital. But Paul George reports he won't be coming back with the Clippers, free agent to be. That could have been a match for Joel Embiid, but the Sixers apparently, they're not into it anymore.
Well, or are they playing hard to get? You know, if you like somebody in 3rd grade, you pretend you don't like them. Pretty obvious mind games here.
That
this is a high-end mind
never
game.
worked for me, by the way. Never worked for me.
Yeah, also, like, is that how free agency goes? It's usually the person who shows up with the most money. But, yeah, here's I have a little conspiracy theory about this. Do you want to know what it is?
Sure, definitely.
Mind games?
I think Paul George was a no. And I think they found this out. And this is the Sixers getting in front of it so it doesn't look like a star is saying no to Daryl Morey and Joel Embiid. And because you've got to maintain a level of like, hey, we're at the top of the market here. And, Paul George is just playing with James Harden, who went all the way to China to tell a group of kids that Daryl Morey is a liar. And I wonder if he maybe poisoned things a bit for Paul George, who's been his teammate with the Clippers now or something. And I think this was the Sixers getting in front of this so they didn't look embarrassed that they were spurned by George. You know,
there's another thing called common sense, maybe paying $50 million a year for a 34-year-old player who'll be 35, then 36, and 30.
Never
Insane.
stopped Daryl Morey before.
You think about that, Bo. He signed James Harden. James Harden was a spring chicken when he signed him compared to Paul. This guy is going to be the most overpaid. He literally might be the most overpaid player in the history of the NBA. Like this contract might, if the Clippers sign him, I think they're crazy.
And even at the end of James Harden,
it's nuts.
The contract's going to be ridiculous.
And even at the end of the James Harden situation, it was them not allowing him to go to free agency and saying, hey, we're not going to give you this some huge extension. We're going to pick you up for this one option here, and then you could do whatever after that. And that was whole Daryl Morey's a liar thing. James Harden thinks he's going to get a big bag of money, and it didn't come from Daryl Morey. So maybe this is a new Daryl Morey we're seeing where he's not going to just give all the money in the world to whoever's available.
Well, that's not a new Daryl Morey then. I think that's the ownership being like, what? I think Daryl will give it away, but that's just me.
No, I actually think that's accurate. Like a baseball comparison for me, when Bryce Harper wanted the Yankees back in 2019, they got out in front of it and said, we're not signing him. Yeah. And now they didn't explicitly say it, but you could tell.
They never brought him in.
Yeah, exactly. So when it didn't happen, the fan base wasn't like, oh, you missed out on Bryce Harper. They said from the beginning of the offseason, we're not.
Yeah,
we're
meanwhile,
not
they
doing
should have signed Bryce Harper.
I mean, Bryce Harper was 26 at the time, right? That's
right. No, he's been awesome for the Phillies. They should have definitely signed him.
Honestly, it's like right. Everyone's saying the magic on Paul George. Like, what a waste. I feel so bad for whoever has to get. This is going to be, you see these NBA contracts, that one's going to be an albatross. You see me mad about Paul George. Thank God. I hope he does not come to the Sixers.
Does he just stay with the Clippers?
Well, no, there's the odds moved up.
Reportedly not happening, but.
Well, the odds now even with the Clippers and the Magic I saw. And also Harden. I mean, will he stay with the Clippers? He's a straight free agent, right?
What an interesting situation for the Clippers.
I mean, what is talking about? You think the Sixers are a mess?
Right.
Like, geez.
It's all right, guys. They've got 10,000 bathrms and you can flush every toilet at the same time.
You can smoke weed on the deck.
I'm on
Bulls are trading Alex Caruso to the Thunder for Josh Giddey.
That's every upper deck, by the way. Yeah, all over America.
Wait, upper decks? What's happening here? Okay, go
There's
ahead.
a fan section in the Clippers arena real quick that you can smoke weed legally and it's totally fine.
You know what? They're going to need that if the product's not good enough. Everyone's going to be sitting there. It's like squint and you can see
I'm
basketball.
going to need something to watch these Russell Westbrook missed layups. So.
Honestly, Steve Ballmer should be up there passing out
Wait,
joints.
they're not bringing him back too, are they?
I think he's definitely coming back. You saw him. He was there in Inglewood, dancing. I don't think he's going anywhere.
So we got Caruso for Giddey. We have Malik Monk signing a 4-year, $78 million deal to stay in Sacramento. 6th Man of the Year runner-up. Ian Begley's reporting that Jalen Brunson's going to leave a lot of money on the table. If Brunson skips out on extension this summer, he'd get 5 years and $270 next offseason. But extension in July, 4 years for $156, and Begley said he's reportedly going to take that.
Yeah, the Julius Randle, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they can build around Brunson. Rickwood Field, Birmingham, Alabama, Cardinals 6, Giants 5. First time hosting an MLB game ever, and it lived up to the hype, honoring the Negro Leagues. An extra special night with the passing of Willie Mays this week. So the Fox broadcast, I thought, nailed it, found an extra gear, came back, and all of a sudden it was like 70 years ago.
And so we welcome it back here to 1954 television. 70th anniversary of the catch. 1954 World Series Game 1. That game was tied at 2 in the 8th inning.
So they start telling the story about the Willie Mays catch, and you can hear the different audio, slightly different audio. It was all black and white, and it was sped up. Then this leads to a question. They get very enamored by the history of television.
So I get what we're doing here. This is how the game was shot.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is how it sounded.
Wow.
I mean, it had a little more old-timey voice to it, which I'm not even going to try on national TV right now, but you get the point.
And then John
So I'm
Smoltz.
sure we'll get this answer because I like asking questions to learn something.
I try to give you something every week.
So I want to ask our crew, when did the home shot from center field come into play?
Ooh, that's a good one. Matt Gangle, director, what you got? He says, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, so getting a little bit into the weeds of when baseball TV became that way, because literally all you could see was behind home plate, pitcher coming in. It was like the ball was whipping in as if you're watching a game from the 1930s or 40s. And then they did do a split screen, and they said that did not happen in the 1940s.
Yeah, they didn't have split screen then.
We weren't doing split screens of
They
the
didn't do
runner-up
win
first.
probability? That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
In 1954, they weren't doing
Yeah,
that.
15% win probability.
They didn't
in the
have
eighth
launch angle.
Yeah.
It was cool. Was John Smoltz not at the production meeting? He seemed totally blindsided by this. Maybe it was a bit.
Yeah, when did we start doing the home game?
We like Smoltz. 855-212-4227. Emmanuel, thank you so much. Perloff, you have got to leave us right now for
Big
something
time.
very
8th
important.
grade graduation. About to cry.
Yay.
Not me, my daughter.
Congratulations to Perloff's going
great
through it
dad
again. To Lucy, the coolest person we know. 13 going on 30. She is awesome. Tell her we said congratulations. Okay, coming up, we've got more for you on the JJ Redick hire. It's Maggie and Perloff on Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. When I tell you that I was rejoicing when I got the news that one of my all-time favorite movies is going to have a sequel. Pete, I know you were with me on this one. Spaceballs, the masterpiece by Mel Brooks. I actually saw this movie before I saw Star Wars.
You want a shocking piece of news?
What?
I never saw it.
What?
That's stunning.
Okay, that's fine. Everyone, no one's seen everything. I'm going to tell you you're going to love it because I know you and I know your sense of humor.
I have to see it.
Okay, so the sequel is going to be coming out now. What is this, 40 years after the fact? Or
Yeah.
even more? So it got us thinking about sports movies and what sequels we'd like to see from sports movies. Now, I have a couple. EJ, I know you have a few. I'm not sure about UP if you have any. I'm going to start with this one. It's based on a true story, and it's Rudy. Now, I don't know if you could do the true story again, but how about Rudy now comes back to coach Notre Dame or something? Like you could, there was still a little more meat on the bone, I thought, with Rudy, which is an all-time great sports movie.
Rudy is not, isn't it? real?
It is real, but you can fictionalize the second one, right? If you're going to make the sequel, I think you bring back Rudiger. He's the coach of the team now or something like that, or his kid or some.
Okay.
You can find a way.
Okay.
How about this? I like it. It's Rudy comes back to coach the team, and it's the guy who played the custodian who let him sleep in the facility. It's his son who's now trying to make the team, and it's Rudy trying to coach the son. Yeah.
I got one with that. The Little Giants have Icebox coach.
Icebox?
The same scenario. Icebox coaches against maybe Al Bundy's kid.
Ed O'Neill, his kid. I like that one. I also got Any Given Sunday for you. I think that we could do, does Willie Beeman, the Jamie Foxx character, what happens if he goes to another team? Does Al Pacino go to the booth? Does he become the general manager? There was a little bit more there for Any Given Sunday, which I know is a polarizing one.
So the ones I have, one of my all-time favorite movies, you talk about it a bunch here, Blue Chips needs a sequel. Because look, now you got NIL.
Yep.
So Pete Bell, who probably, we don't see what happens to him, but we assume he gets banned or whatever. Maybe he's out of college basketball. Maybe a school says, hey, money is allowed now. Like, you're no longer this pariah. Let's bring you back, and he has to rebuild some
Rick
program.
Pitino style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a Rick Pitino, basically, of this new era. So I think Blue Chips would be great. I also think Little Big League would be great. Because you got, the young.
Everyone's getting younger and younger.
Yeah. Well, you got the young kid who was the manager of the Twins, and he gave it up, but he was still the owner. But now he's an adult, and now he gets to actually run the team.
Oh.
So now he's an adult trying to run a baseball team, and he has this historic kind of figure, and now he's kind of like an idol to these players, and how that actually kind of messes with the chemistry of the team. I think that would be really cool.
Well, I just watched Joe Mazzulla, who was in the same draft class as Kyrie Irving, win a title with the Celtics. He's 35. JJ Redick got hired yesterday. He's 40. We are getting younger. Forget the NFL coaches. They're babies. I mean, McVay got that job at 32 or something. Was even that old? It's all about getting younger. Maybe Little Big League, it actually is a kid who's like 9.
Yeah, maybe Billy finds another young prodigy and says, hey, you remind me of me, so I'm going to make you the manager.
It's just the analytics, they understand it better. These kids can read the spreadsheets better than adults. All right, coming up. Mentioned JJ Redick gets the job. My biggest question for JJ Redick and the Lakers now that they're embarking on this endeavor together. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff on Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Having a lot of trouble talking myself into this JJ Redick hire. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff is just left. He's at his daughter's middle school graduation, so we wish Lucy all the very, very best. But JJ Redick and the Lakers are the top story today, and I'm having trouble talking myself into this hire for a couple reasons. And number one is not actually about JJ Redick. I really don't trust the Lakers right now. I don't trust the powers that be. I don't trust the front office. And here's the reason why. I don't know if they know what they want in a head coach. There's been 7 head coaches for the Lakers since Phil Jackson stepped away. And in that span, the Lakers, by the outside, have actually had success. They've won a title. They jettisoned Frank Vogel. They made the Western Conference Final with Darvin Ham, followed it up by winning the in-season tournament the next year. Whatever you think of that, they won something. They won a competition. And the expectations got bigger. They fell short of them because they ran into the Nuggets again, and then they fired Darvin Ham. What do they want? Maybe they wanted Dan Hurley, but they didn't want to go enough, I guess, to match his number. So now you're landing on JJ Redick as the plan B, who may have been a plan A. Again, this whole thing is kind of complicated and kind of messy. So I don't trust the Lakers here that they even know what they want. And in a lot of ways, I think they're trying to either read LeBron James's mind and try to hire the coach LeBron wants, or LeBron is just outright saying, hey, I think JJ Redick is smart. I want him to be the coach. And if so, I wish everyone would just come out and say it. Just come out and say it. LeBron, come out and say, JJ's my guy, because somebody is going to have to publicly support him. Did not happen with the last 2 coaches. There would be some sort of vaguish, like a little bit of support publicly, but JJ's going to need a lot more of that because there's going to be a lot of attention around this hire. And so I'm having trouble talking myself into it. Here's the other reason I'm having trouble talking myself into this hire. I think LeBron is behind this. I think he's signing off on it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me when you look at the history of LeBron James's career. In LeBron James's career, whenever he thinks he's gotten even a little bit close to a title, rookies need not apply. They got Andrew Wiggins out of Cleveland so fast to bring in Kevin Love because LeBron's like, I'm on the precipice here of a title. I don't have time to be doing rookie mistake stuff, right? I don't have time to be bringing a rookie along. JJ Redick was a 15-year vet in the NBA, but make no mistake, he's going to be a rookie now. This is a first-time head coach. He's going to make rookie mistakes. How could he not? He could be the most brilliant basketball person. He's still a human. He's not going to know every single thing day one on the job. So why LeBron would entrust the last couple years of his career to somebody who has never done this before, it just doesn't jive with how we've seen LeBron operate for like the last, 12 of his 21 years. So for that, I'm having trouble talking myself into this. You're looking for stability if you're the Lakers, even beyond LeBron. This is the most boom or bust hire you could have. This doesn't match stability. Kenny Atkinson could have been stability for you. JJ Redick, who knows how the wind's going to blow on this. And another reason why I'm having trouble talking myself into JJ Redick being successful as the head coach of the Lakers is JJ Redick. And outwardly, he projects a persona that may be true. Maybe it's a little punched up for media. The smartest guy in the room. No doubt this is the space that he is occupying. He's the basketball genius. He's the smartest guy. We all have people like this in our lives, right? Whether it's a coworker, whether it's an in-law maybe, whether it's someone in your family, a blood relative. It could be, the spouse of a friend. Everyone's got a know-it-all in their life. No matter what you think, they've got the better idea, right? No matter what you've done, they know what's better. They've been smarter about it. They'll give you advice. This is what you got to do. You got to go here. You got to eat here. This is what you got to do with your money. This is what you got to do with your kids. Everyone has this person in their life. It is so great when those people are wrong. It's hard for them to be wrong. And the humbling that happens when know-it-alls are wrong is like twofold. And I think it can be hard for people who have egos like that. I think it'd be hard for them to accept any kind of, I don't want to say failure, definitely, but it can be hard for them to accept criticism. It can be hard for them to accept that things have to change or that their way wasn't right. And again, this is all what JJ Redick just puts out in the public. He comes across as the smartest guy in the room. And with that brings a bit of arrogance. And I'm not saying that all coaches don't have an ego, but in this particular arena, he hasn't earned that yet. So is it going to be difficult for him if things do go wrong to admit it, number one, or is it always going to be someone else's fault? You didn't execute my vision or whatever. And also, you're going to get people who are, quite frankly, going to be happy to pile on. And I'm not talking about the media here, guys. I'm talking about players who may have reservations about this, other coaches who thinks he skipped the line, people inside the sport who are going to be ready to metaphorically dunk on him too. So again, I'm having trouble talking myself into JJ Redick succeeding here. And I'm curious to hear what you think at 855-212-4227, because we put a poll out on Twitter. And, JJ Redick is what we would call extremely online. If he sees this poll, it could be bulletin board material for him, perhaps. Will the JJ Redick hire work out for the Lakers? 85% of you say no. No one's expecting that this is going to go well, and I think a lot of it is because of the reasons that I just mentioned. That you don't trust the Lakers' brain trust, that you don't understand really the fit with LeBron outside of them being podcast partners, and is this really the guy to take you home on a title that you're hoping to rip off here at the end of LeBron's tenure? And I think it's the personality is the third part, is the smartest guy in the room syndrome. And so for those three things, one, not his fault, that's the Lakers. Two, that are maybe not his fault, but that he is something that he can actually do about it. And I don't think people believe that this is going to be a slam dunk hire, as I said. So that's where I'm at with this. Now, can I say all that to say this? There is one, to me, ace up the sleeve, if you will. There's one thing I think that could help this situation. And that person is going to have to be a big figure behind the scenes. And that's Coach Mike Krzyzewski. He's the link here, or could be the link, if things start to go a little bit dicey. And here's what I mean. Coach K is a consultant for the LA Lakers. He is someone who behind the scenes is someone the brain trust is talking to, and he's also someone who coached LeBron James on the Olympic team. Coach K has LeBron's respect, and I think he has his ear. JJ Redick, of course, played for Coach K, is a Coach K disciple now. Now he's part of the Coach K tree. And I think Coach K, to borrow a wrestling term, is putting JJ over. Maybe even behind the scenes with the Lakers. Hey, I'll vouch for him. I know what he's really like. He played for me. I know he's going to be great at this. He'll talk up JJ Redick publicly, and I think he's doing it privately too. So to me, Coach K is going to have to play a role here, because if you are having any kind of even the beginning of personality conflicts, the beginning of miscommunications, the beginning of things going awkward, say you've lost 5 games in a row, as could happen in the NBA, things starting to just get a little bit off course. This is where Coach K can smooth things over. This is where Coach K, as the great communicator that he's been for 40 years at Duke, understands both parties, both personalities, and can be that buffer between the two if it needs it. This is something that prevents small things becoming bigger things. And listen, you're never going to be able to control everything about LeBron. Obviously, he's a grown man, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's also someone who can be kind of passive-aggressive. He's got these sort of like odd social media tweets at times. He knows the media, people like us, will bite on it. He's very good at getting his point across. He's good at playing in the gray area. He's good about pushing off accountability on other people. He'll take some, but he's really good at pushing that off because he's got the receipts. Like, I'm the all-time leading scorer in the league. Who's going to blame me for things going wrong? Like, I'm LeBron. I'm doing everything I can out there. Someone else isn't pulling their weight. So things like this that could happen, Coach K, again, a consultant for the Lakers, he's the person I think is going to have a role in fast-tracking the chemistry here, or making sure that things don't go off the rails. He's going to play an important role here behind the scenes. I bet we never hear about it. Maybe, but I doubt it. So that's sort of where I'm at with this. I feel like I have to talk myself into it. If I really am gonna be bullish on this, I'm willing. I have to make myself make the arguments fit, because on the surface they really don't to me. And then I'm gonna need something from Coach K behind the scenes. We spoke to Rohan Karni, EJ. I'm curious if you picked up on this too. So Rohan joined us before, great friend of the show, covered basketball at Sports Illustrated for a long time, super smart, sharp guy. And he said that he likes the hire. And he said part of the reason why he likes it is because JJ understands the modern NBA, understands kind of the analytic approach, and not just where the league is now, but maybe where it's going. And I think Rohan is right on there. My question is, how would JJ know that more than someone who's literally coaching in the league now? Like, wouldn't an assistant coach is Kenny Atkinson so set in his ways that he doesn't evolve? I think you'd be out of the league. Like Greg Popovich has his ways, but that's not who we're talking about here, right?
There's one advantage that JJ would have over Borrego, an Atkinson, or even a Darvin Ham. He played in this current NBA. So he can perhaps communicate things about what to do on the court, concepts, maybe in a way that those guys can't, because those guys are essentially learning a language on the fly. Like, these are old heads that have been around basketball forever that are seeing the game evolve. Like, JJ was just playing not that long ago in a game that hasn't changed that much from 2 years ago. So he has that advantage going for him. So maybe that is the wrinkle in this, is that for a young guy coming into the league where, you know, maybe college basketball is so different than today's NBA, he can say, hey, this is what it takes to accomplish and to execute what I'm asking you to do.
You might be right. I just think that if you are an assistant coach right now in the NBA with designs on being a head coach, if you haven't figured out how to do that, it's like adapt or die. I mean, you'd be out of the league, because what head coach wants a dinosaur sitting next to him? You want someone with experience, but everyone has to be open to change. Everyone's trying to find where the game's going next, because this is so competitive. You know, I wonder if that really is a separator for JJ. You might be right, but I wonder about that. I think the thing that he would have going for him as a former player, I think, is reading the room. Understanding, hey, when I was a player and we had lost 5 in a row, I didn't really want to go into a film session and get ripped apart. That's not what I needed then. Or maybe I did. This guy needs a pat on the back. This guy needs more of a kick in the butt. I think he could probably be good at sizing that up, because he was a star, especially in college, but we got to the NBA, he was a role player. So you're trying to make sure you fit in. You're trying to make sure you are understanding kind of where you are in the ecosystem. Maybe that helps him a little bit more. He's a little bit, he's closer. His NBA career was closer to, you know, he's a rotation player than he was a superstar in the NBA. So that part, the relatability of that, I think could help. But that's not the team he's being asked to coach. The team he's asked to coach has two of the huge, basically the biggest star on the planet, LeBron, and a former number 1 overall pick, you know, and Anthony Davis, who also is a star. So if this was like the Magic, I would get it. This is not the Magic.
If we go to his basketball experience, though, as an NBA player, the one advantage he has, when we think about the guys that have failed, when we think about player coaches, usually it's the superstar player, right? It's the Jason Kidd, though he's been better now, but Steve Nash, these guys that, you know,
Magic Johnson, yes. Isaiah.
The all-time greats typically just, they can't communicate to the role player, hey, this is how you do it, because they think, why can't you just do what I'm telling you to do?
Right. Wayne Gretzky was not a good head coach.
Exactly.
Right?
So that could help him. Also, JJ's lived a very complicated basketball life. We were thinking, he was just a shooter. Remember, he came into the league, it was kind of a bust. Like, he kind of didn't work out initially in Orlando, had to change his game, find a way to get himself on the court. He had to work his way back into a rotation, so he knows how to talk to the first-round pick who's a disappointment. He knows how to talk to the guy who is trying to get a starting role and hasn't quite gotten in yet, and he can motivate that guy. He's also dealt with some temperamental superstars. He's played with Dwight Howard. He's played with Chris Paul. Guys who can be very prickly, guys who can definitely get under your skin. So when it comes to dealing with LeBron James or Anthony Davis, no, he wasn't as good as those guys, but he knows, A, how those guys can impact their teammates, and he knows the kind of things they can be doing behind the scenes to move and shake things. So perhaps for him, it won't be such a culture shock to be dealing with 2 megastars like that. Yeah. None of them are LeBron, but Dwight was a megastar when he was playing with Jayson, JJ Redick.
Yeah, right.
And Chris Paul was a big personality as well.
Joel Embiid, too.
He played with Joel Embiid, too.
You're right. He might know the how maybe prickly, maybe how those different personalities and how they fit together. Listen, those are the things I'd be talking up, you know, if I were him. Because in the other part, like the basketball genius stuff, I mean, I'm listening to Joe Mazzulla, and I know they just won the title. Dude, listen to Joe Mazzulla talk about basketball. It is like he's talking another language. Oh, my goodness. Talking about how he, you know, is getting cut-ups of every team's last possession, even just to have the presence of mind to have Peyton Pritchard as like his half-court heave guy because they ran the numbers on what hitting a shot at the end of the half does for the final, like the outcome. Like, it's clear that Jason Kidd was not looking at that. I'm sorry, but I don't think they ran those numbers for Jason Kidd. So I just think every guy in the NBA, I just said that about Kidd, but like every coaching staff, they're all brilliant. I think they all have this thing. And the X's and O's, that's like the minimum. The bare minimum that you have to know is to be brilliant at basketball. Then can you do the other stuff on top of it? It's a tough one. The other part, too, is what is success here for the Lakers? They're going to say winning a title.
Good luck with that.
This is not a title roster right now. So 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. JJ Redick again. I feel like I have to sell myself on this. Like it's not like, oh, JJ Redick. Like, no, here's why. If you squint, you can do this, and I can shove this square peg into a round hole. It's not coming easily to me to see how this is going to succeed when so many others before him have failed in this particular job. 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, lots more to do, including we got some amazing sound from last night, by the way, at Rickwood Field, which was unreal. We've got a prominent quarterback's wife out here telling stories about what it was like when they first met. Are we above gossip on this show? Absolutely not. 855-212-4227. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff is at his daughter's 8th grade graduation today, so you got me taking you home. So I thought this was interesting because I think men and women saw this story very, very different. And what I'm talking about is Kelly Stafford, the wife of Matthew Stafford, was telling a story. Listen, she is a talker. She's telling a story on a podcast called Off the Vine about, and trying to be a bit honest, that it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows when she first met Stafford when they were both at Georgia. So this was what it was like.
Wait, so was he trying to casually date and you were all in?
Oh, yeah, girl. Anyways, long story short, it wasn't that cute of a relationship at first. I hated him. I loved him. I dated the backup to piss him off, which worked.
Yes.
He was like,
that'll do it.
He was the bad boy, too. Like, Matthew's so sweet and Southern gentleman and all that stuff. And the backup was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it upset him.
It upset him. Okay, she goes on to say how this sort of played out.
They lived in the same dorm because athletes lived in the same dorm, and he would see my car there. And so at one point, he like waited and followed me out and got in my car and wouldn't get out. And he was like,
"This is so hot."
I was like, "This is amazing. It's working."
Yeah.
I was get out of my car, and he was like, he's not right for you. And I was like, what? You can't tell me that.
Right. And then she goes, but this is working, right? She was kind of like playing a little bit of a mind game with him, and it ended up working. Now they're married for like 10 years. They've got 4 kids. She's been through her health scares. He's stuck by her side. I mean, by all accounts, they have, this good relationship. So I saw that a lot, not all, but some men were very upset that she would be sharing this story. And it's funny, from the woman's point of view, I think this actually paints Stafford in this kind of great light. First of all, everyone can play mind games at the beginning of a relationship. That's not just a woman thing, right? Like, she played the card here of basically dating his friend to try to get him a little jealous and a little more interested. And men do that too. So I feel like that's pretty even here. This isn't like a woman being evil, because men do this. I've seen men also try to date women's best friend, try to get back at them or get even, or you're young, and these kind of mind games totally exist on both sides. So I'm not going to rip Kelly about that. This makes Stafford look great. He realized that she was dating a jerk, even if it was just to get under his skin, and he thought enough of her to, try to stop her. She says he's such a Southern gentleman. He's the nice guy. Nice guys finish first here. Like, I don't see how this is a negative on Stafford, but I know men see this different.
Well, yeah, because we've had Tony Parker, we've had Matt Barnes, we've had these incidents where you talk about a woman getting between teammates, and that is the ultimate no-go for a guy code. And here you have Kelly Stafford essentially at this time playing that up and playing with games. I'll be honest, if I was a Georgia fan should be the most upset by this, right? Because they didn't win a national championship, and we don't know what Matt Stafford was going through. He was this great talent, and they kind of underachieved as a team. I'm thinking, this is what was happening behind the scenes. His girl is dating the backup, then dating him, and maybe we would have won a championship if Stafford had his head on a straight.
EJ, this wasn't two great quarterbacks duking it out. This was future first overall pick Matthew Stafford and Joe Cox.
No, but look,
he wasn't a threat.
No, but it's not even about Joe Cox.
About chemistry.
It wasn't even about Joe Cox being a threat. It's just like, this is the mind games that's being played with my quarterback, who I need to be super focused, and it's someone who's doing this on purpose.
Okay, but maybe if Matthew Stafford had just been interested from the very beginning, she wouldn't have had to play the mind games. I mean, she said this was bad at the beginning. She loved him. She hated him. All this stuff, and they were both kind of casually doing this thing, and then, she upped the ante.
I feel like I've never... Matthew Stafford is I wish I was obviously 6'4" and could throw the ball through a wall like Matthew Stafford, because I related to Matthew Stafford more in this than I ever have in my entire life, right? You're the good guy. You try to treat women with respect, treat them nicely, and then you want to try to get with somebody, and they're like, oh, you're kind of soft, like, what's going on?
I'm going to go for the bad boy.
Go for the bad boy. He's terrible. And you're like, this guy's a jerk. This guy's a loser. Why are you with this guy? Well, he's a bad boy. I like that. And it somehow just worked out for Matt Stafford. So again, it helps that you're a number one pick in the draft type talent. You're a all-American high school kid. Like, that all worked out for him. But I think a lot of the quote unquote good guys out there heard this and was like, man, how come that story didn't end up with me? How come Sally Ann from 8th grade
on the back of a Harley somewhere?
Yeah, she didn't work. She didn't see that guy was a loser that was smoking weed behind the locker room.
Stafford, obviously has good state. He sees something, he goes after it. He sniffed somebody else around the hen house, and then he did what he had to do, right? He swooped in. I saw a lot of this also online, which was, people are going to talk so much trash to him now on the football field. What are you going to say?
Lot.
You could say, what has Matthew Stafford not heard? Like, first of all, you're going to talk about some guy's wife. Already you're in dicey territory, because you start doing that, whether it's Kelly, whether it's Brittany Mahomes, whether it's any of the high-profile wives, they're going to come at you anyway, and them's fighting words. So that's going to happen no matter what. And Stafford at this year, he's played what? Are we 15 years in with Stafford? 12 years in with him in the league? Not 15. That's a little much. Are we 12 years in with Matt Stafford? He's heard it all, seen it all, done it all. He's won a Super Bowl. He's likely going to the Hall of Fame like Perloff predicted. There's not a lot verbally, I think, that you can say to really touch this guy.
Does anything get under his skin to where it affects his game?
I think so. See, I think he's above that. And again, if you're going to say something about a man's wife, then you're gonna expect the wrath, right?
Yeah, but
the teammates.
That's why I expect that Stafford Matthew, he can't be happy that she said this. There's 0% chance, because the last thing I don't know about. I can't speak for women. I know most men. The last thing you want to hear about is what your
wife dated.
True significant partner, your wife, your longtime partner, whatever, talking about what she was doing before you, and apparently this was happening during your situation.
Well, but
it wasn't even before.
Yeah, but it's not like he was upset puppy dog here. I think he was out doing his thing too. That's what she said. Yeah. She wanted to make him jealous because maybe he was having a wandering eye too. I mean, listen, now they've been married for a decade. Like, what are you going to go back to old stuff? Like, this is so. I don't think this hurts him too much. And listen. We always say this, like, man, he's not going to like this. We say this Mahomes. He's not going to like the fact that Brittany is acting the way that she acts in the box. He clearly loves it because it's not your cup of tea, maybe my cup of tea, but clearly he loves it. So, and he wants somebody out there in his corner.
It's like an opposites attracts thing, which is kind of neat, I think, because, Kelly Stafford will never stop talking. She's talking about the Detroit fans. She's talking about the governor of Michigan. She's talking about what it's like to be a Los Angeles Ram, and the crowd, the people they're bringing in, Blueface with strippers. She has all the thoughts. And I feel like Matthew Stafford, I don't think he said anything in his entire career.
Pretty mild-mannered dude.
Never heard
on the outside.
Him have an opinion on anything.
Yeah.
And that part of it I do kind of admire. It's like, it's these very different people have this great life. It just started a little weird.
Very, and I think if Stafford, is cool with his wife being out there like this, it kind of shows he's comfortable in himself.
True.
Emmanuel Berbari is here. He's got headlines for us today. Emmanuel?
Hello, and the Celtics championship parade is coming up today, but after they clinched the title post-game, Jayson Tatum, first title, he didn't really let it come organically. EJ, who put this together? Because Tatum was trying his best to copy like every famous NBA title celebration.
This was a TikToker.
Okay, TikToker.
Who had a good eye and was like, what? I've heard these before. And
This is a compilation of all of the celebrations that Tatum copied.
We did it. We did it! Anything's possible. Anything's possible! What they gonna say now? What they gonna say now?
What are they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now?
I know everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Okay, let me put a little context there. So that's Tatum first, then Kevin Garnett.
Right.
Then it's Tatum, then it's Steph Curry. Then it's Tatum, then it's Kanye from an award show. Right. And so he's essentially, these are all things that happened before the Celtics won the title, obviously. And so he kind of like ripped off 3 different celebrations.
So he's well prepared for this. Like he did his championship celebration research before he won the championship and then celebrated.
You know, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass here. The anything is possible thing is just hilarious. You know, the Kevin Garnett, a lot of people, along with like Cleveland, this is for you. You know, LeBron's famous line from the parade at the Cavaliers, or maybe right after they won. Maybe that just gets in your head. Like it's like an earworm, like a song you can't shake. The Kanye one is definitely planned.
Oh, for sure. The Steph one planned too. Steph said that when they beat the Celtics.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to maybe get back at Steph. It is a little funny.
Maybe should have stayed at the KG, but
Celtic for Celtic, right? Like
Celtic
in the brotherhood.
Kind of like paying homage. But the other two are definitely planted. Well researched, well prepped.
Kanye's not even an athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
And deplorable, by the way.
Yeah,
like detestable
for
for a lot of people.
Well, I'm in the 5% that I actually think I like this from Jayson Tatum. Because Jayson Tatum is exactly who we all thought he was, right? Like, people will say, oh, Jayson Tatum's obsessed with Kobe Bryant. He's wearing the armband for Kobe Bryant. Like, he thinks he's Kobe. He thinks he's this guy. He's you know, people kind of have this perception of Jayson.
That he doesn't have his own identity.
Right, that he doesn't have an identity himself and that he's very inspired by other folks. I am someone who's also inspired by a lot of people, and I actually kind of appreciate that Jayson Tatum is being exactly who he is. He's not mincing words.
Right.
He's not trying to be someone different. Well, I guess he is in a way.
Ironically, by stealing someone else's shtick,
he's being himself.
He's being himself.
Right.
He's leaning into it. He's leaning into his own personality.
Into it. Like I'm not. I hate Celtics, but I love what I'm seeing from Tatum on this.
By the way, that him saying, I guess everyone always said what it would be like if I didn't win. Well, I guess we'll never know. That's the only footage I feel like I've seen from them partying at all. Now, you said the parades today, the duck boats will be back out. Good for you, Boston.
Yeah.
I say through gritted teeth, but you earned it. I haven't seen a lot of party footage. I feel like when other teams have won, I've basically been on an Instagram live tour, like as they wind their way through Las Vegas.
And I thought we would because they went to Miami for a couple days, right? And now they're back in Boston for the parade. Where's the Miami footage?
I haven't. The Tatum thing's the only thing I saw.
I saw them getting on a plane and Tatum on the plane with Al Horford with the trophy. That's all I saw. Now, this is kind of a family group, right? Like, Tatum is in a relationship with a singer, Ellie Mae. I think her name is, pardon me if I'm wrong on that. Brown's very mature for his age, even though he's single. He mentioned that when his single days require him watching Harry Potter. He's not out there at the club. That's what he said during the finals.
Also, Joe Mazzulla, real faith-based.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mazzulla definitely keeps a certain kind of lifestyle. Horford, family man. Like, this is not like a party group, right? So
it's always a couple.
Yeah. Who would that be on
this
this team?
You don't think Porzingis is partying? We know.
I think that got him in trouble, though.
Right.
I think he had. Remember, he was beat up in Slovenia, wherever the hell he
now
was.
He wants
he had
a
private
private
shirt, Latvia, yeah. Like, I think part of his thing was trying to like reshape his image a little bit.
Yeah,
and he's hurt.
But you think you'd let your hair down a little,
right? But maybe he can't.
On the finals,
he's hurt.
You find a way. You roll your ass into the club. You find a way to celebrate. What else we got, Emmanuel?
So we got JJ Redick to the Lakers, of course. It's a 4-year deal, new head coach. And the Sixers' interest in Paul George reportedly, talked about this last hour, significantly waned. But Philly is expected to be aggressive elsewhere, draft capital, and cap flexibility. Baseball, Rickwood Field, Birmingham, Alabama. First time hosting an MLB game last night, oldest professional ballpark in the country. Yeah, the Cardinals and Giants in the throwback Negro League uniforms. Tremendous job honoring the lineage and legacy, especially Willie Mays, who passed away Tuesday at 93 years old. He actually played for the Birmingham Black Barons in 1948, that right around integration. So it makes sense. An Enterprise, Alabama native had a night. Brendan Donovan, he went to the University of South Alabama, playing in the home state. 3-run blast in the third inning. He went 3 for 4. And the Cardinals edge a Giants 6-5.
What a special night. I mean, this is something that we should celebrate. This right here is pretty amazing. And to do it in Alabama, and I got some friends and family in the stands, I think it's pretty cool. It's like I'm playing summer ball again, right?
Yeah, one of those cool throwback games. We had the Field of Dreams game as well. So nice to have that as the backdrop for last night. Very well done across the board. Also had the Rays holding off the Twins in extras 7-6 the final. And we talked about Pete Fairbanks, who's been quotable. He allowed the game-tying 3-run homer to Jose Miranda in the 9th. Then he bounced back when the Rays rallied, so Fairbanks got a second chance, closed it out in extra innings.
I put it in the spot that you don't want to put it, and he didn't miss it, so hats off to him. I absolutely destroyed a few things in the cage and then regrouped, and we got it done.
And what did he exactly destroy?
Look, let's just say that I owe the Minnesota Twins visiting cage a new IKEA stool.
A new IKEA stool.
There needs to be a new stool. Not bar stool height, like one of the mini ones that like kids use. Yeah, it's not non-existent anymore.
Honestly,
non-existent.
If he was going to be really cool about it, you should also assemble it. Because that IKEA furniture, the stool is probably fine, but that stuff can get real complicated really fast.
I know it's hyperbole, but like non-existent. I would love to know what the stool actually looks like.
Yeah, it's splinters, I think is what it looks like.
Because it's probably existent, just not in the way it was beforehand.
Emmanuel, so we have you here. You've been doing an excellent job calling Yankee games on WFAN with Susan Waldman. I mean, it really is spectacular. We're super happy for you. I asked you to think of the best moment you've had so far that's not on the field. You're getting to travel with the Yankees now. You're on the team plane. I mean, this is stuff that people can only dream of. What's been the best moment you've had off the field?
So I singled out 2 as somebody who was just going through it all for the first time. Spring training, actually. I was recording liners and commercials with Aaron Judge, and we had no salespeople down there. So it was just me, Justin Shackle, Susan, Ricky Ricardo was down there for the first couple games. So we didn't have any production people per se there yet. So I volunteered, I'll help record the liner. So it's just me and Aaron Judge in one room banging out the FAN commercials that needed to be done.
Yeah, if you're wondering the liner, it's like, hey, this is Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, and you're listening to the flagship station, WFAN.
And he also had a new sponsorship where he needed to read a couple promos. So I thought that was cool because it was just like an extended time where we were doing something that was completely mundane, but you're right there with Aaron Judge, just you two hanging out in an office and chatted up a little bit, and that's when he got to know that I was doing some of the games this year. So that was awesome. And then you fly with the team.
He's older than you, by the way, by like 6 years.
But by a lot. And then another guy who's older than me is Garrett Cole. One of the first flights I was on this year. He was still rehabbing, but he was on that trip. And he immediately, his face kind of brightened up as I walked by him. And I'm like, oh, does Garrett Cole actually know who I am? And he's like, oh, you're the new radio guy, right?
Wow.
So Garrett Cole has this great
reigning Cy Young winner.
That's awesome. Exactly. He has this great reputation for knowing everything that's going on, not just pitching, but everything that's going on with the team.
Yeah.
Knowing everybody's families, the relationships, the reporters. He has great relationships with the media. And that was my introduction to Garrett Cole. Was like, wow, he without really having ever met me before said, oh, you're the new radio guy, right? So that one stuck in my head.
I feel like Garrett Cole is the type of guy who he's so into pitching, right? He is the JJ Redick of pitching, right? So you're about to board a flight from New York to Texas or wherever some of the places you've gone, Minnesota,
Milwaukee.
Okay. Garrett Cole sits down next to you and you're like, so how you throw in that cutter? And then all of a sudden the plane's landing in Milwaukee. You haven't said a word and he's just been talking about pitching without taking a breath for 2.5 hours.
Right. And that's kind of the guy that he is. He'll just walk up to somebody, and then if you indulge him in a conversation, like he'll talk about pitching or something else that fascinates him in life,
right?
Like he could get into a 2-hour conversation. It's not like he's ever going to tire or be like, I want to get rid of this person. No, he'll just dive into it. For,
right.
For
Like you're trying to put the earbuds on, he's not getting the hint. You know, you want to watch a movie, he's just not picking up on the social cues and just keeps talking about pitching.
No, he just wants to talk.
Yeah, right. You're like pouring lighter fluid on yourself,
right.
You know, like the scene in Airplane.
Yeah. So that would stuck out to me. I'm like, this kind of makes sense of who Garrett Cole is. Like that he would point out the radio guy he's never met before.
There you go. Okay. Well, this is great.
Yeah.
We're happy for you.
Thank
We're excited for you. Whatever the future holds, it holds. But 24 years old, getting called Yankee games next to Susan Waldman. Not bad.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Enjoy that.
Yeah,
Thank you for everything this morning. Okay, coming up, got a lot more to do, including some sound you must hear. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Finale under the golden arches of the... This is it, folks. The grand finale under the golden arches of the stadium. Grimace, our favorite purple pitcher from McDonaldland, is ready to deliver the final course. He winds up with a flare, and here comes the pitch, a sizzling fastball. The batter takes a swing, and it's a big McMiss. Strike three. Grimace has done it. He's grilled the competition and wrapped this game up like a fresh McDouble. As he dances around the mound, the crowd is loving it. Absolutely loving it. What a delectable performance by Grimace, the Shake Master turned Strike Master. This is it, folks. The grand finale under the golden arches of the stadium. Grimace, our favorite purple pitcher from McDonaldland, is ready to deliver the final course. He winds up with a flare, and here comes the pitch, a sizzling fastball. The batter takes a swing, and it's a big McMiss. Strike three. Grimace has done it. He's grilled the competition and wrapped this game up like a fresh McDouble. As he dances around the mound, the crowd is loving it. Absolutely loving it. What a delectable performance by Grimace, the Shake Master turned Strike Master. This is it, folks. The grand finale under the...
Two minutes remaining.
Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than the winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch you wow. Try to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you're just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. Enemy, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot thickening. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline. line, forever ticking. Behind the scenes, he just do it, switching lanes. Belani's got the keys, but can't start the flames. Got a line up set, but it's just a simple game. See the new playbook, cause yours is just lame. Hit your focus with the updates coming fast, but even he can't save you, you're in the past. Game changer, better got it broadcast, cause I'm laying down tracks in the build to last. You ain't hot, but fall so flat.
He's grilled the competition and wrapped this game up like a freshman double. As he dances around the mound, the crowd is loving it, absolutely loving it. What a delectable performance by Grimace, the shake master turned strike master.
So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house and I'm taking my shot. Game set, match like in a knot. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north, I shoot straight from the heart.
Maggie and Perloff. Perloff had to skip out. It is his daughter's 8th grade graduation today, so you don't want to miss those kind of amazing milestones. Congratulations to Lucy. She is the coolest teenager I've ever met in my life. Kids who grow up in New York City, it's like they age in dog years, you know? She's definitely 13 going on 30 in the best way possible. Super cool. We get back to JJ Redick in just a moment, but I do want to carve out a few minutes to talk about what we saw last night at Rickwood Field, which was an incredible scene. Now, was there an extra weight on it because Willie Mays passed away on Tuesday? Absolutely. And I heard somebody say yesterday, I forgot who it was, that in some ways, and they said this was sort of a twinkle in their eye, was this Willie's grand plan? To get all of us together. You wish that he could have been there, obviously. To get everyone together to memorialize him and just to have this celebration of his life in a place where his career started. And they did a really good job, I thought, on Fox of, bringing in the Negro League history and making that the focal point of what the game was about and how much more attention we're now bringing to those Negro League players. Their statistics are now incorporated into Major League Baseball and making whole in a way that baseball had not been made whole in a long time, right? But I thought Reggie Jackson stole the night. And how he stole the night was going on Fox before the game. And while this was a celebration of Willie Mays, and while this was an incredible moment, and there should be more moments like this to talk about the history of the game, I appreciated as a viewer that, and as a fan, that Reggie Jackson didn't have this airbrushed account of what it was actually like to be playing in Birmingham when he was a young man.
Coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person? You think you won when you played here in Concord? I said, I would never want to do it again.
Yeah, it goes on to detail the racism that he faced when he was playing in the 60s.
I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they say, the can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted.
More from Reggie Jackson last night on the Fox broadcast. He says his manager and teammates helped him overcome this racism and people even threaten his teammates.
If I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week, for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
And afterwards, you can hear Reggie getting emotional about this. How could you not? Reliving that kind of trauma. And A-Rod actually gives him like this big hug, and they have this moment. And I appreciated so much that Reggie brought this to the broadcast, because again, we can talk about, oh, this was great and this is the birthplace of Willie Mays and wow, look how awesome everything turned out. But that is definitely not the full story. And Reggie bringing that, which I doubt Fox probably knew he was going to go there, but you know what? I thought it added to it. Because let's tell the real story. We always say you can't tell the history of this you can tell the history of this country through baseball. I really believe that in a lot of ways, and this was one of them. EJ, I don't know if you caught that last night.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought this was very profound from Reggie Jackson. I think the important thing to remember is we think of sports as the ultimate unifier, and here you have a living testament to a time where it was greatly challenging. And that the place we are today, we owe a great debt to men like, and women, but men like Reggie Jackson and Willie Mays and Jackie Robinson and Jesse Owens and those who live this stuff. Reggie says, if it wasn't for my teammates, I would have maybe done something I shouldn't have done that would have gotten me in a lot of trouble or maybe gotten me killed.
Yep.
And I think that's a reality that we perhaps don't harp on so much because it's so dark, such a dark time in our country. But it's important to remember because this is not something that was 500 years ago. Here's a living man today who's on our broadcast talking about what he dealt with. And I think it was important when we think about the life and legacy of Willie Mays that we tell the full story. I thought Reggie bringing that perspective to the table was very important. I was very happy he did it.
Yeah, this is not the abstract. This is his life.
Exactly.
And again, Fox does a great job on these broadcasts. And you want to be playing up the positives, right? It's an entertainment product, and I understand that. But I actually thought this was the best part of the night. Just to put a bow on the top story today, which was JJ Redick getting hired by the Lakers, and a completely different type of story. Again, the public not very bullish on this one. We've had polls that have been lopsided before. This one, very much so. Right now, 85% of you do not believe that JJ Redick's going to be a success with the Lakers. Now we'll see. Celtics have the parade today, too, by the way.
Yeah, I wondered what the timing was with that. I guess you want to get it out before the parade, but not so much a Friday dump.
I think that the longer this went, the more you thought another candidate could come in and take JJ's spot, so you had to announce it. But, yeah. Better day for the Celtics, that's for sure. Thank you to DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti. Thank you to Emmanuel Berbari. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan. Guido's Coffee Drinkers. Fantastic job. Andrew Filipponi. Rohan Nadkarni. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Stanley Cup tonight, yo.
Fastball. The batter takes a swing, and it's a big McMiss. Strike three. Grimace has done it. He's grilled the competition and wrapped this game up like a fresh McDouble. As he dances around the mound, the crowd is loving it. Absolutely loving it. What a delectable performance by Grimace, the shake master turned strike master. This is it, folks. The grand finale under the golden arches of the stadium.